Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. I sell devil fruits at American Comics. Chapter 31. 3. Then store manager, please wait a moment and allow me to think about it. Jin Bin said hello to Luo Sha, and picked up the devil fruit illustration book again. Faith, please go ahead, take your time, don't rush. Luo Sha smiled at Jin and said. Jin Bin nodded, and then began to carefully study the devil fruit illustrated book in his hand. But soon, Jin Bing frowned. Shop manager, is this rusty fruit still in stock? Jin couldn't help raising his head, staring at Luo Sha seriously and asked. The fruit he ate was a steel fruit, and in the end there was a fruit that made objects rust. This fruit was specially used to kill him, right? When Jin Bin saw this fruit, he felt as uncomfortable as eating a fly. The rust fruit is still on sale. Luo Sha nodded. The store manager, the introduction in the illustrated book says that this fruit can make objects rust and corrode. Jin Bin asked again. Yes, Faith Grams. Luo Sha nodded. He also understood why Baijin paid attention to the rust fruit, so he explained to him, but the rust fruit can not only rust steel, but also rust non-steel. Even the human body. Can the human body rust? Wesley was really amazed. It is definitely natural for metals to rust, but how can non-metals rust? It can only be said that the devil fruit is really in existence beyond everyone's understanding. Of course it is possible, Wesley. Luo Sha smiled. In the world of devil fruits, please put aside your previous perceptions. What the store manager said is that devil fruits cannot be guessed by common sense. Wesley nodded in agreement and sighed. Although that's the case, but the store manager, the rusty fruit's corrosion effect on metal should be more obvious. Jin Bin still couldn't let go. He asked thoughtfully. Faith, even different metals have different degrees of difficulty in rusting, so. Luo Sha shrugged. Although it is not finished, the meaning is already obvious. Not to mention the difference between metal and non-metal, even if two different pieces of iron are placed in the same environment, the rusting situation is completely different. It is an indisputable fact that some objects are more likely to rust. Shop manager, I want this rust fruit too. After learning about the situation, Jin Bing made such a decision immediately without much hesitation. The rusty fruit is simply the nemesis of the steel fruit. Naturally, it is better to control this kind of fruit in one's own hands. Never be bought by others. Even not just others, even if it is one of his own, Jin does not intend to use this devil fruit. Jin didn't allow himself any future troubles and risks. The only purpose he bought the rust fruit was to destroy it. Of the only 3 places, it can be said that one was wasted in vain, and then Jin Bin only had one place left. What to choose for the only remaining devil fruit, it has to be carefully considered. Jin Bing's gaze began to scan the illustrated book again. After about 5 minutes, Jin Bing's eyes froze. He pointed to one of the fruits and said, Manager, I think this quick-cut fruit is very good. Jin Bing also chose this quick-cut fruit after careful selection. The appearance of Daredevil some time ago made Jin Bing really realize how important it is to be a high-end fighter. He never thought that a mere person would bring him such a big loss and cause him such a headache. Daredevil has ruined many of his businesses, but he has nothing to do with him. In the end, if Wesley hadn't hired Wade, he would have had a bit of a headache trying to kill Daredevil. After learning such a lesson, Jin Bing learned from the pain, and naturally planned to train a top master, in case a second Daredevil jumped out in the future. Definitely, Jin Bing was originally a master, and the addition of the steel fruit is even more powerful. He believes that if he faces Daredevil now, most of the people who die will be Daredevil. But with Jin Bin's status, he naturally wouldn't make a move casually. It is king to create another master. Looking at it, this quick-cut fruit that can turn the body into a blade can not only increase the attack power, but also improve the defense. It is indeed a very good fruit. It turned out to be the quick-cut fruit. Luo Sha looked at Jin Bing's choice, smiled and nodded approvingly. The fruit of quick chop is also a well-known fruit. Frankly speaking, the strength of Mr. One is indeed very strong, otherwise, he would not be so favored by Lao Sha. After escaping from the promotion city, he would still take Mr. One on the road. Faith, this is indeed a very good fruit. As introduced in the illustration book, this fruit can turn any part of the human body into a blade. I believe how useful this ability can be in battle, I don't say you can imagine it. In addition, this fruit is also very similar to your steel fruit to some extent, because it can make the user's skin as hard as steel. This is a relatively comprehensive fruit that takes into account both attack and defense. That's right, that's why I chose this fruit. Jin Bin nodded, and then made a decision. Manager, that's the deal, let's use rust fruit and quick cut fruit. How much are these two fruits in total? The rust fruit and quick cut fruit are both priced at $1 million United States dollars. After the discount, the price is $1.4 million United States dollars. Okay, store manager, please pack these two fruits for me. Jin Bin said to Luo Sha, and pay the bill in a hurry. Luo Sha put the two devil fruits into the custom-made packaging bags and handed them over to Jin Bing. Jin felt the heavy texture in his hand, and felt as comfortable as a breeze blowing on his face. This time I only spent more than 2 million USD to buy such a good thing, which is really worth it. The depression and unhappiness caused by being disgusted by the letter have long since been washed away. After the transaction was completed, Luo Sha asked for Jin Bing's opinion, and as usual, brought Jin Bing into the group. Store manager. At everyone, another family member has come to the Devil Fruit House, welcome Wilson Faith to join. The originally quiet group suddenly became lively. Wesley. Welcome Mr. Faith to join. Vanessa. A newcomer to the group. Your business is very good today, Faithki, welcome. Vanessa. What the hell? Jin was stunned. Boss, it's like this. Seeing Jin Bing's puzzled eyes, Wesley immediately leaned his head over and explained to Jin Bing in a low voice. Only then did Jin Bin suddenly realize. It turns out that this Vanessa is actually Wade's wife. It's exactly the same name as my fiancé. Let's see what happened. Helen Zhao. Has Mr. Faith K become a devil fruit ability user? I'm very glad you joined. Wilson Faith. Thank you everyone, I am Wilson Faith, a steel fruit ability user, and I hope you will take care of me in the future. Wade Wilson. Steel fruit. This should be a fruit that can turn the body into steel, right? Faith, are you planning to turn into a statue? Those street statue artists are probably going to lose their jobs. The veins on Jin Bing's forehead couldn't help twitching. This is the Wade that Wesley was talking about, the guy who killed Daredevil, right? The mouth is so short. It's been a long time, and he hasn't met anyone talking to him like that. Wesley on the side adjusted his glasses, and couldn't help but secretly sweat for Wade in his heart. Based on his understanding of Jin Bing, he knew that Jin Bing was really angry just now. Wade is frantically probing on the verge of death. Vanessa. Mr. Faith is really sorry, Wade has no other meaning, just joking with you, Wade's character is like this. Fortunately, Vanessa immediately began to apologize for Deadpool, which made Jin Bing look a little better. Although she knew that this Vanessa had nothing to do with her fiancé, but the same name obviously had a different fate. Then, give this Vanessa a face. Wilson Faith. Mr. Wade was joking, Miss Vanessa, I didn't take it to heart. Jin didn't say too much. After simply saying hello to everyone, he quit the chat group directly. Like Wesley, Jin naturally knew how valuable such a group of abilityists was, so he joined in without hesitation. But at the same time, Jin Bing also didn't want to reveal his identity, so even though he joined, it was based on the principle of talking as little as possible. The store manager, Wesley and I will go back first, but I will come back with my fiancé some other day. After a few more pleasantries with Luo Sha, Jin Bin said goodbye and left with Wesley. Faith G, Wesley, go slow. Luo Sha sent the two of them out of the store with a smile, still in a very good mood. Wesley and Kim joined forces in this wave, but they sold a total of 4 devil fruits. Awesome. I have to say that Jin Bing is really very powerful. That's not counting, Jin didn't say it, he will bring his fiancé to visit again, and there may be another wave of orders by then. Quality customers. Kim isn't really a quality customer without compromise. Such customers, please give me a dozen. With this wave of assists from Wesley and Jin Bing, Luo Sha's sales task, which had been stagnant for many days, was overfulfilled in one fell swoop. System, complete the task settlement. Luo Sha couldn't wait to enter the system and started to settle. Congratulations to the host for successfully selling 6 devil fruits and completing the stage task. The host can choose to draw a lottery once, or get 1,000 origin points. How does the host choose? Immediately, there was a notification sound from the system in his mind, which made Luo Sha rub his hands excitedly. But how to choose the lottery or origin point? This didn't seem to be a difficult question to decide. After some simple thinking, Luo Sha made a decision. I choose to get 1000 origin points. Luo Sha immediately said to the system. Now his shining fruit is still at a very elementary level, and his strength is far from enough. Instead of obtaining another elementary level ability, it is better to improve one's own strength first. At the very least, Luo Sha must have enough capital to settle down in this world. Congratulations to the host for getting 1000 origin point rewards. It is detected that the host has a balance of origin points, which can be used to strengthen the shining fruit ability. Does the host consume origin points for strengthening? Such a notification sound came from the system again. What else is there to hesitation? Strengthening. Strengthening. Origin points are being deducted. Strengthening complete. Congratulations to the host shining fruit ability for upgrading to the level of the template character General Huang Yuan. Following the series of beeps from the system, Luo Sha immediately felt some corresponding changes in her body. General Huang Yuan. Luo Sha's eyes lit up. This is the proper top-level existence of pyramids in the world of pirates. Jane is stronger than that. More importantly, Huang Yuan's cool big moves are also very, very high level, such as stepping on a cannon and popping out of the field. Have you been kicked by the light? Not bad. Luo Sha is very satisfied with this. Not to mention the current stage, even in the era of Avengers in the future, Luo Sha will definitely be considered a top character, and it is no exaggeration to say that it is no problem to single out the Avengers Alliance. Apart from a few strong players who really cheated, who is Luo Sha's opponent? Luo Sha's mood was a pleasure. Now he has the confidence to gain a foothold in this world. Yes, the system. At this time, Luo Sha suddenly thought of another question, and couldn't help asking, if I choose to draw a lottery this time, what reward might I get? Devil fruit, 3-color domineering, Navy 6 style, or other mysterious gift packages, the host can randomly get one or more of them. Are there even devil fruits? Luo Sha was a little curious. One person can only eat one devil fruit, so even if he got another devil fruit in the lottery, it would be useless. Luo Sha asked the system this question. The devil fruit that the system rewards the host is not an ordinary devil fruit, but an exclusive devil fruit that specifically matches the host. This kind of devil fruit does not have the problem of eating multiple conflicts. The host can eat it with confidence, and there is no limit on the number. The system gave this response. Can I eat more than one devil fruit? Luo Sha felt more and more satisfied. Doesn't this mean that he can not only transform into light, but also into thunder and lightning? Be a flame or something. Just think about it. However, what the system says is that the exclusive fruits rewarded by the system do not have this restriction, that is to say, those devil fruits currently sold to the outside world seem to have this restriction. Luo Sha knew it in her heart. Unlock the next level 1 mission. Sell 10 devil fruits. Phase task reward. 3 lucky draw opportunities, or 3000 origin points. Note: 1000 origin points are equivalent to 1 lucky draw chance, and hosts can be randomly combined. While being excited, this series of voices sounded again in Luo Sha's mind. The system releases the latest sales task of level 1 segment. 10 devil fruits. Luo Sha is eager to try. After this period of sales accumulation, Luo Sha is still full of confidence in the latest stage of sales tasks. Among other things, didn't Jin agree to bring his fiancée there again? A devil fruit has been reserved. In addition, although there are not too many devil fruit ability users, they have more or less radiated their respective circles. This kind of radiation may not achieve immediate results in the short term, but Luo Sha believes that it will definitely bring benefits over time. As far as the current situation is concerned, among those customers who bought devil fruits, except for one Deadpool who visited naturally, which one didn't radiate in this way? This task is not difficult. The manager. At this time, Zhao Hailun suddenly at Luo Sha in the group. Hailun Zhao is not Deadpool. She spends all day talking nonsense in the group, at this at that nonsense. With Zhao Hailun's temperament, at Luo Sha alone, there must be something wrong. Luo Sha didn't have any nonsense, and directly entered the group. Store manager. At Zhao Hailun, Dr. Zhao, what's wrong? Helen Zhao. there is a question I want to confirm with you. Should the devil fruit matter be kept secret from mutant? Although the group of mutants is relatively rare, and you basically seldom encounter them in daily life, many people have completely opposite attitudes towards mutants. Some people sympathize with and support mutant, but others are full of hostility towards mutant and even want to destroy mutant. All in all, the issue of mutant is a very sensitive social issue. Zhao Hailun felt that Luo Sha still needed to be consulted on this matter. Others in the group also began to pay attention at this time, and they also wanted to know Luo Sha's attitude towards mutant, because this may affect their attitude when dealing with mutant in the future. If the store manager is very resistant to mutants, but because of them, he recruits a mutant to the store manager, it will be very painful. Wade Wilson. Drive Zhao, you asked a good question. In fact, I wanted to ask it a long time ago, but I forgot every time. Wade Wilson. Actually, I've been harassed by two very stupid mutants, one with silver metallic skin and one with a luminous body. Wade Wilson. Oh, by the way, did I just say they are all X-Men? Wade Wilson. I don't know what they really liked about me. They insisted on dragging me to join the X-Men, but I'm not a mutant at all. Do you think it's funny? Then Deadpool started babbling in the group about how Colossus and the Warhead duo harassed him. However, Deadpool typed very, very fast, and as a result, long paragraphs of text kept popping out like beans pouring out of a bamboo tube. The entire group was directly swiped by Deadpool. Group member Wade Wilson was banned for 5 minutes by the group leader. The world is clean now. Mutant. Luo Sha was lost in thought. To be honest, he doesn't care about mutant at all, and doesn't have any prejudice against this group. But there is one of them that Luo Sha is very afraid of, Professor X. This guy can read other people's memories at will and control other people's thoughts, which is a bit too perverted. Luo Sha didn't want her background to be fully exposed in front of Professor X. After thinking about it, Luo Sha entered the group and asked the system, can some spiritual abilities read your existence from my memory? The existence of the system cannot be perceived by any form of spiritual exploration. Since the system has been bound to the host's spiritual world is also protected by the system and cannot be detected. This time, Luo Sha was completely relieved. Store manager, Drive Zhao, and everyone in the group, I treat mutant or ordinary people equally, and everyone should act according to their own wishes. Zhao Hailun. I see, since this is the case, then I can rest assured the store manager. Vanessa. Drive Zhao, have you come into contact with mutant? Helen Zhao. I didn't have any direct contact, but a friend of mine asked me if I could treat mutant. I haven't agreed yet, but I think there are some issues that need to be clarified first. Store manager. It's okay, Dr. Zhao, follow your own mind. If you decide to treat that mutant, and he asks you about the devil fruit, it's okay for you to reveal it to him. Zhao Hailun. I understand the store manager. Zhao Hailun. Since this is the case, I won't bother you anymore. Goodbye. Zhao Hailun deserves to be a vigorous and decisive person. She immediately went offline after finishing her business. Not even a word of nonsense. But thinking about it, everyone is an adult and has their own things to be busy with. Luo Sha is really weird. Why does Deadpool have free water every day? Are mercenaries really so idle? I stayed in the store for almost 3 hours, and another 6 or 7 natural visitors came one after another, and definitely no more orders were recorded. This was what Luo Sha expected. What's more, 4 devil fruits have been sold today. Luo Sha has long been satisfied. He closed the shop and locked the door in a hurry, and once again came to the barren mountain where he used to train. But this time Luo Sha is not for training, but to experience the feeling of an admiral. Amazon Cloud Sword. With a thought in Luo Sha's mind, countless photons quickly condensed in his palm, and a golden photon sword appeared just like that. Swish. With a wave of his hand, a big tree as thick as a person beside him was easily chopped off in the middle. Light speed kick. With a kick, a terrifying beam of light burst out immediately. A huge boulder taller than a person in front of him exploded into debris on the spot. 8-foot Chong Guyu. Luo Sha flew into the air with a photon and crossed her arms. Chi 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 chi. Chi 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 chi. The dense light bullets shot forward like overwhelming. It was a spectacle. After trying some other moves, Luo Sha's entire face turned red, as if she had won $5 million. Now his control over his own abilities has reached the point of perfection, and he indeed possesses the strength of an admiral. Hell's Kitchen. Cemetery, cemetery. Hurrah! The biting wind kept blowing the fallen leaves on the ground, adding a bit of coolness to this already bleak place. In the cold wind, an old man in a windbreaker with completely gray hair stood coldly in front of a tombstone like the cold wind. In the photo on the tombstone, a big boy like sunshine is smiling brightly. It was Matt Murdoch. It's ironic, Matt, that you wear a mask and tights every day and fight for this city like a ridiculous joker. But in the end, what did you get? I said earlier that useless emotions make you weak, and that will kill you. The old man was wearing sunglasses, and looked ahead leisurely. Holding a long stick in his hand, he sighed in front of Matt Murdoch's grave in a very familiar tone. You are the most capable student I have ever taught, but you are also the stupidest student. You wasted your ability and died without dignity in the end. But, who told you that you were my student? I have found out who killed you, and I will get your dignity back for you. May you rest in peace. When the old man said this, he placed a flower in front of Matt Murdoch's tombstone. Just when he straightened up and was about to leave, the old man's body suddenly paused. Without looking back, she uttered a sentence, "Long time no see, Erica." Stick, old man. Accompanied by such a voice, a woman who looked extremely capable and at the same time extremely ruthless walked over from behind. I knew you'd come, you've always had an old love for Matt. Stick said to Erica in a very sure tone. Isn't that why you drove me away? To avoid distracting Matt, but in the end, Matt also left you. Erica's face was indifferent, and no expression could be seen. Only when her gaze catches the photo of Matt Murdoch on the tombstone, there is a sadness in her brow. Although it has been a long time since I saw Matt Murdoch, Erica has never forgotten this big boy who once walked into her life. Ignoring the old man, Erica also put a bouquet of flowers in front of Matt Murdoch's grave, silently mourning him. Then he straightened up again. You want to avenge Matt, right? Don't deny it, I heard it just now. Erica said forcefully to Stick, I want to join. Whether you agree or not. If you don't agree, I will act alone. Anyway, I can do it without you. Erica, when did you need my consent? The old man said leisurely. The other side. Within Jin Bin's stronghold. Boom, an extremely dull voice sounded, a steel plate fixed on the ground trembled violently, and a big hole was punched out abruptly. Not only that, the fracture was red, and the steel was melted under the high temperature, flowing down the steel plate. It looks so shocking. In front of this steel plate, Jin Bing's right fist was also red, showing a state of high fever containing terrifying energy, making people dare not approach it at all. As expected of a devil fruit, it's really amazing. Looking at the effect of his punch just now, Jin couldn't say how satisfied he was. With just one punch, a hole in a 5 cm thick steel plate can be made. What kind of person can bear such a punch from him? Wade is right, if Daredevil is not dead, he can make the other party see Hades with one punch. Boss, in just 3 days, I didn't expect you to have such terrifying power. Wesley adjusted his glasses and sighed from the bottom of his heart. If he had heard that someone could punch through a steel plate before, he would definitely have taken the other party as a lunatic. But now, he witnessed this incredible scene with his own eyes. This is a devil fruit. Jin was equally moved. Devil fruit is really amazing, it can make people master such power beyond common sense. He was indeed very lucky to be able to obtain such power. But Wesley, I still have a long way to go. Jin Bin then shook his head. His punch just now seemed to be powerful and exaggerated, but it actually took time to brew. Jin Bing's grasp of the fruit ability is still very elementary level. It's okay to say that the steel fist is proficient after continuous training, but it takes about 10 seconds to heat up the fist. In a real battle, how could someone give you such a long time? Comrades still need to work hard. As for stealing other parts of the body at will to achieve the purpose of defense, Jin Bing is also a little unfamiliar. The steely control of other parts such as the chest, waist and abdomen is far less handy than the hands. This is also a matter of reason. Just like if you usually try to control the biceps and other muscles of the hands and arms, it will be very easy, but if it is the abdominal muscles, chest muscles, etc., if you are not a trained fitness enthusiast, it is very difficult. Wesley, how is your fruit developing? Jin then looked at Wesley expectantly and asked. Not so good. Wesley shrugged. He is taking care of everything inside and outside of Jin Bing, how can he have so much time to develop fruits? However, it can be regarded as some progress. Wesley smiled slightly, then stretched out his hand suddenly, and pointed at the steel plate. When a bullet was shot directly, splashing a spark. The power of this bullet is not as powerful as the bullets actually fired from the firearm. To reach that level, constant training is required. Not bad. Kim nodded. Wesley is his secretary and housekeeper, not a thug, and basically he doesn't need to fight with others. In this state, Jin is not quite satisfied anyway. Boss, it's almost time. It's time to pick up Ms. Vanessa. Wesley looked at the time at this moment, and reminded Jin Bin. Go get the car ready. Jin Bin nodded. Ever since he saw the magic of the devil fruit, Jin Bin planned to buy a devil fruit for Vanessa. Unfortunately, Vanessa has been busy for the past few days, so she couldn't be free until today. Got it, boss, Wesley responded, then turned around vigorously and pushed the door out. As for Jin Bin, he simply took a shower and changed his clothes before going downstairs. Wesley had already made arrangements there, and 4 cars were lined up in a row, waiting there a long time ago. Wesley immediately opened the car door respectfully. Jin Bin sat on it, and the convoy immediately started to set off, leaving behind a trail of smoke and dust. Boss, there is a question you need to know. On the road, in the car. After some hesitation, Wesley still reported to Jin, the letter asks to meet with you alone, and it is a very strong request. What does he want to do? Jin asked, very annoyed. He wants to re-establish a cooperation treaty with you. Wesley knew that Jin Bin would definitely be angry, but he told Jin Bin the truth. Sure enough, after Jin Bin finished listening, his face immediately turned from sunny to cloudy, and even the whole car began to become depressed. Letters are becoming more and more of a nuisance to me. After being stunned for a full 2 seconds, Jin Bingong said slowly, but fortunately, I won't have to endure this kind of trouble any longer. In fact, Jin Bing is still very afraid of Shin. He knows that Shin is a very powerful person, at the level of Daredevil, so Jin Bing has never dared to act rashly. He even had the idea of using Daredevil to kill Shin. However, this idea was in vain when Daredevil was killed. Letters have become Jin Bin's biggest headache after Daredevil. But now, everything will no longer be a problem. Even not just the letter, Mrs. Gao, Leelon, and Brother Big Bear will no longer be a problem. In the future, Jin will no longer have to jointly control Hell's Kitchen with others. This place will be his own territory. Thinking of this, Jin Bing's eyes became more and more fierce. Boom. But at this moment, the car at the front of the convoy suddenly lost control for some reason. After a few wobbles, it slammed into the guardrail all of a sudden. Squeak. Fortunately, the drivers of the next few cars were all experienced veterans. At the critical moment, they slammed on the steering wheel and slammed on the brakes. After some violent output, they finally stopped the car in a thrilling manner. The tragedy of serial collision was avoided. How is this going? Jin Bing's face suddenly became ugly. Wesley didn't say any nonsense, and immediately pushed the door and got out of the car. At the same time, the other bodyguards in the car also got out of the car immediately. What happened? Wesley walked up to the first car and asked the driver of that car. Someone threw nails in the road. The driver answered with a frown. Wesley's complexion suddenly became serious, and he became more vigilant, and immediately began to observe his surroundings vigilantly. The same was true for the other Jin Bing's bodyguards, who were instantly put on alert. Immediately, he put his hand on the gun pin to his waist. In this secluded section of the road, someone deliberately threw nails on the road, and any fool knew that something was wrong. Who? Suddenly, a figure flashed at the intersection ahead, which immediately attracted the attention of everyone on the scene. Everyone looked at the past together, and many people even took out the guns in their hands and pointed at each other. But when they saw the figure of that person, everyone couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Because it was an old man who looked to be in his 80s and was extremely thin, as if a gust of wind could blow him to the ground. That's all. The key point is that the old man is blind. What danger can a blind and old fellow be in? It was the timing of this old man's appearance, which was really a bit of a coincidence. You go and see. After Wesley pondered for a while, he casually ordered a bodyguard beside him. The bodyguard nodded, and walked towards the blind old man directly, blocking the blind old man's way. Hey, old man, why are you here? The bodyguard yelled at the blind old man. The blind old man didn't say any nonsense, just pulled away his windbreaker that almost covered his whole body. A sword was drawn from it. The face of the bodyguard beside him changed slightly. Laugh. But before he could do anything, the blind old man flipped his hands. A cold light flashed past, and the bodyguard's neck was cut open immediately. Blood spurted out. In your next life, remember to be polite to the old man. Until this time, the blind old man shook off the blood on his long sword and said very coldly. Stick, old man, debut. Wesley and the others all changed their faces drastically. No one thought that such an old man, whom they despise, would be so tough. Everyone raised their guns in unison, planning to kill the old man. Whoosh! But at this time, a long-haired woman in a strong outfit and her face covered suddenly rushed out from behind the crowd. Still holding two short knives in his hand, he rushed into the crowd at the head of the horse and killed them with a swish of the knife. Erica makes her debut. Wesley and a group of people and almost everyone's attention was attracted by Stick, and Erica was originally also a master. Her secret infiltration did not cause anyone to notice at all. Kill everyone by surprise. Chi chi chi. Ah. The sound of flesh and blood being cut by sharp blades continued to sound, as did the screams and muffled groans. Even those well-trained ninjas in hands and clubs are nothing in front of Erica, let alone these ordinary people who can only pull the trigger. Even though he has a gun in his hand, the effect he can play against a master of Erica's level is still very limited. Many people don't even have the chance to pull the trigger. One after another, they just fell down. What's more terrible is that Gunsu also came to kill at this time. Wesley gasped when he saw it. The fighting power of these two men was at the same level as Daredevil, even if they couldn't compare with Wade, they were almost the same. It's simply impossible for people like them to be able to stop them. Stop them! Wesley snarled at those under his command, and rushed towards Jin Bin's car quickly, trying to drive away immediately. It was only at this time that he realized that nails had been sprinkled around all the cars at some point. That woman must have done it. At this critical juncture, Jin Bin couldn't hold his breath anymore. He also hurriedly got out of the car and learned about the dire situation at the scene. You, come with me, the others are cut off. Wesley randomly ordered two people, and then quickly escorted Jin and quickly evacuated. Bang bang bang, boom, but Gunsu and Erica were too strong. The gunshots behind them became weaker and rarer, and finally disappeared completely. It was only a matter of running a few hundred meters, and all the people were killed by the two of them. Looking at the two people who were quickly chasing after them, Jin Bing and Wesley's expressions became more and more difficult to see the valley point. There is no escape. For the current plan, there is only one fight. Jin Bin saw through the situation at a glance, and quickly made a decisive decision. You guys, buy 10 seconds for me. Jin Bin said to the few remaining bodyguards around him, and then stretched out his right hand, and immediately began to steal his right fist. Swish. In the blink of an eye, Jin Bin's fist turned into a steel fist. But for Jin Bin, this is not enough. That woman and that blind old man are really powerful, their savagery is far beyond what ordinary people can achieve. Jin Bing must achieve one-hit kills. He must heat his fist. Jin began to control his ability, constantly heating his fists. Boom, boom. During this process, the only two remaining bodyguards kept pulling the trigger on Gunsu and Erica with their guns, and fired bullets one after another. Even Wesley, a gentleman, took out his gun and joined the camp against Erica, the master and his apprentice. No matter how powerful the two are, they are still mortal bodies, and they are also afraid of bullets, so they both hid in the bunker on one side. Temporarily suppressed. But this is only temporary. Because the bullets will always be exhausted, and they will be exhausted quickly. After all, how many bullets can a gun hold? But the knife in the opponent's hand will not rust in a short time. What's more, the opponent can kill them without waiting for the bullets to run out. Laugh. A cold light flashed, but Erica suddenly showed her head, and the short blade in her hand turned into a cold light and shot, piercing a bodyguard's chest at once. Nani. The other bodyguard was taken aback, and subconsciously glanced at his companion, flying darts. Is this an exaggeration? Laugh. However, this distraction was very fatal, and a short blade shot again, piercing the bodyguard's chest. So far, except for Jin Bin and Wesley, everyone else has been killed by Gunsu and Erica. And the bullets in Wesley's hand were quickly exhausted. Is it out of bullets? Erica came out from behind the bunker with a sneer on her face. He even pulled out his own short blade from the corpse, held it in his hand and played non-stop. Gunsu also held a long sword, attacking them like a demon. It looks like we're still getting there. Jin Bin's deep voice sounded. He took a step forward, came to Wesley's side, looked directly at the two sticks in front of them and said in a deep voice. At this time, his fist was already red and extremely hot. For the current plan, there is no other way but to fight. The two of them looked at the approaching, old and young combination, with resolute eyes, and they understood that life and death were at stake. Your fist, what's going on? Erica's surprised and confused voice sounded. She stared at Jin Bing's fist, and asked aloud. That fist is actually glowing. What kind of fist is this? Erica, what's going on? I feel a strong energy. Gunsu couldn't help but ask from the side. His fist is glowing, like a red-hot iron rod. Erica said to Stick Man in a deep voice. At first, she thought that the two culprits who killed Matt had become fish on the chopping board, but now, Erica felt that things might not go so smoothly. Glowing fist. Erica didn't understand what was going on, but Gun's heart suddenly moved. A fist that glows, could it be that this person is Iron Fist? Has a new Iron Fist been born? Iron Fist? Stick Old Man couldn't help asking. Obviously. Jin glanced at his steel fist in a high-heat state, and it was definitely authentic. A steel fist, isn't it an iron fist? If you don't retreat now, I will use my iron fist to smash your heads. Jin Bin yelled at Stick and Erica viciously. It would be the best if his fist managed to scare the two opponents away. Don't talk about the iron fist, so what if it's a titanium fist? No one can save you. Erica snorted coldly, and rushed towards Jin Bin directly. But she didn't know that the iron fists that Gunsu and Jinping spoke of were completely different. Seeing this, Jin Bin stopped talking nonsense, and also waved his red fist, rushing towards Erica. Bang bang bang. Taking advantage of this time, Wesley also picked up a gun from the ground, and frantically pulled the trigger at Erica. Erica temporarily abandoned Jin Bin and rushed towards Wesley instead. As for Gunsu, he started fighting with Jin. Although Jin Bin's fighting is very strong, he can be tough with Daredevil, but Gunsu is not Daredevil, and he fought with Jin Bin several times with bare hands. The sharp sword in Gunsu's hand was not something someone like Jin Bing could resist. Even if Jin Bing had red-hot fists, it wouldn't help much. After all, the opponent's huge size made it naturally insensitive to move around. In front of the Stick Man is a living target. Moreover, Jin Bing can't steal any part of his body as he likes now, so he has no advantage in front of Gunsu. But the Stick Man hesitated to make a move. He didn't want to kill Jin Bin anymore. Because the Iron Fist is a sharp weapon used against opponents and clubs. Gunsu and Jin fought side by side, and now they are more interested in testing the strength of the new Iron Fist. But have to say, still very disappointed. This Iron Fist is downright weak. And when Gunman and Jin were fighting together, Erica had already rushed in front of Wesley. Bang bang bang. Wesley pulled the trigger on Erica one after another. It's just a pity that a handsome guy said that guns are weapons for inferior people. At such a short distance, guns can't exert their due advantages at all. Erica's body scrambled left and right on the spot, like a dexterous cat, and successfully appeared in front of Wesley. Laugh. A short knife pierced Wesley's heart directly. Wesley's whole body shook violently, as if someone had pressed the pause button. Slap. The gun in his hand fell to the ground. Just killing you like this is really cheap for you. Erica withdrew her dagger, ruthlessly and authentically. Wesley's eyes and mouth were all opened wide, looking extremely unwilling. Just exhausting all the strength in his body, he reached out and grabbed Erica. At this time, what else can you do? Erica smiled disdainfully. Boom. But at this moment, a bullet shot out from Wesley's fingertips and shot directly into Erica's chest. A blood flower splashed out. What the hell? Erica swung the short blade instinctively again, and cut off Wesley's head with one blow, and he fell to his knees powerlessly on the ground. At this time, she only had one thought in her mind: what the hell was it just now? How did you get shot yourself? Wesley, Erica. Two shouts rang out at the same time, but Jin Bing and Gun Su, who were fighting on the side, rushed towards each other almost immediately. One of them rushed to Wesley's body with a sad face, and the other rushed to Erica's anxious face. Leave me alone, kill him. Erica's voice sounded, and she grabbed the old man, yelling loudly at the old man regardless of her own life or death. No, if you delay any longer, you will die. But the old man said so, and then helped Erica up without any explanation, and quickly started to evacuate. Jin Bin just knelt down in front of Wesley's headless corpse, and his whole body couldn't help but twitched, which was caused by huge amounts of grief and anger. Ah! After a long time, Jin Bing raised his head to the sky and roared angrily. Jin Bin is actually a cruel and ruthless person. Even if all the people under him die, he doesn't care at all, but Wesley is an exception. In Jin Bin's heart, Wesley is the only one who can be called a friend. However, his only friend was killed in front of his eyes. Wesley, no matter who the murderer is, I swear, I will sacrifice her head to you. Jin Bin said to Wesley's body in a voice almost swearing. Erica was covered from the beginning to the end, and it was still quite difficult to investigate. She could only use other characteristics to lock the target. Jin Bing began to think subconsciously. After a while, Jin Bing's eyes became sharper, and his murderous intent burst forth. Letter, could it be you? Kim is not so skeptical. Although he is now, 5 divided, in Hell's Kitchen with Mrs. Gao, Shin, Leelon, and Brother Big Bear, and jointly govern the city, he is still the most powerful among them. The police, judiciary, political circles, etc., all the systems of Hell's Kitchen have been infiltrated by Jin Bing. It is not an exaggeration to call him the underground emperor of Hell's Kitchen. Kim is well aware of Hell's Kitchen's large and small file-size forces. Covering your face and using cold weapons to fight, this style does not belong to any faction in Hell's Kitchen, except for the Yakuza gang of Shin. Only that guy has such a group of ninjas in his hands. In addition, Jin Bin's identity has always been a mystery in Hell's Kitchen, and not many people really know his identity. There are very few people who know his identity but still dare to attack him. And what about letters? All conditions are fulfilled. Do not doubt who the letter doubts. ... Kid, hold on. When Jin Bin was full of fantasies, Gunsu had dragged Erica to a hidden and safe place temporarily. He gave Erica some first aid treatment, and then used his fastest speed to bring Erica to a foothold. Originally Matt Murdoch's apartment. The rent for that apartment was not due yet, but the Matt Murdochs were gone, so now the room is vacant. Stick spent all his days in Hell's Kitchen in Matt Murdoch's apartment. Stick old man, a disciple of the Innocence Society who received the notification early immediately greeted him immediately. Quick, carry her in. The old man ordered the disciple, and the two worked together to lift Erica to a bed that had been emptied long ago. The disciple had already prepared the tools, quickly picked up Erica's clothes, and began to check Erica's wounds. It's okay, the bullet got stuck in the flesh, and it didn't hurt the internal organs or large blood vessels, just take it out. The disciple of the Innocence Society immediately said to Gunsu and Erica. When the two of them heard this sentence, they couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. This kind of injury is not fatal to Erica at all, but the two of them are a little fussed. But I can't blame them, after all, Erica was shot at close range, in that case. Wrong. How could the bullet get stuck in the meat? It is impossible to shoot at close range with only such a little penetration. Did it hit the bone? But listening to the disciples of the Chinjun Society, it was clearly not the case, because hitting the bone was the most troublesome thing, because it was impossible to clean up the bone fragments without going to the hospital. Stick felt that there seemed to be something wrong. And the new Iron Fist is full of doubts, which makes the old man at a loss. Why would Kunlun's new Iron Fist give up his mission and instead come to a place like Hell's Kitchen to be the leader of an underground force? Could it be that all this is just a cover-up for the other party? Considering that those guys from Handhiway also secretly lurked in Hell's Kitchen, this seems to be explained. But the strength of Iron Fist would be as weak as that bear, which is really unreasonable. But at the end of the day, these are all secondary. You can practice if you are weak, or maybe Iron Fist was injured at the time and it was inconvenient to move. These are all possible situations. The most important thing is that the opponent can light up his fist. Now that the Iron Fist was born, the old man has more confidence in dealing with Handhiway. As for his poor protege Murdoch, the stick man could only mourn for Fang in his heart. Who said it was an Iron Fist that killed him? Between dealing with opponents and meeting or avenging his disciples, Gunsu will undoubtedly choose the former. Gunsu even began to think about how to adjust his layout in the future. Erika's situation is relatively optimistic. The disciples of the Innocence Society didn't even use a knife, but just used tweezers to take out the bullet in Erika's body. The work of disinfection and wound suturing was completed in a smooth manner. Everything went very well. I gave Erika an infusion, and after she fell into a deep sleep for more than 3 hours, her complexion improved a lot. How do you feel? The stick man was sitting on the sofa, slowly wiping the long sword in his hand, without any hesitation in his movements, and asked a question leisurely. I can't die. Erika got off the bed directly, walked up to the old man and sat down, with a tired look on her face. Thinking about what happened today, she felt very aggrieved and failed. Especially for her to be attacked by such a weak guy, that is simply unimaginable. Wrong. Absolutely not. Erika thought about it carefully, and became more and more sure of one thing: Wesley definitely didn't have a gun in his hand at that time. There was no way she could have gotten this wrong. When the opponent's gun was stabbed in the heart by himself, it had already fallen to the ground. But what happened to the bullet that shot him? Where did the bullet come from? The bullet seemed to be shot out of thin air from the opponent's hand, which is really ridiculous. Wrong. Just when Erika felt ridiculous for her absurd idea, she couldn't help but recall Jin Bin's glowing fist. One person's fist turned into a red-hot iron rod, so why can't the other person shoot bullets from his hand? This world is too crazy. Devil Fruit Store. Manager, this is my fiancée, Vanessa. Jin Bing, who was in a white suit, appeared in Luo Sha's shop with another gentlewoman in a black dress. He politely introduced the beauties around him to Luo Sha. A few days ago, Jin Bin said that he would bring his fiancée to visit again, but now, Jin Bin really fulfilled his promise. It's just that for some reason, Luo Sha felt that the Jin in front of him seemed very tired. It's the kind of physical and psychological exhaustion. It seems that something happened. Considering that Hell's Kitchen is such a chaotic place, there must be countless bad things every day, and Luo Sha understands this very well. Hi store manager, I've heard Wilson praise you every day these days, and today I finally saw a real person. You really are an extraordinary young man with a heroic spirit. Vanessa immediately smiled at Luo Sha very politely, and directly put a tall hat on her. Ms. Vanessa has won the prize, both of you, please come in quickly. Luo Sha greeted Vanessa and Jin Bing into the store with a smile. Faith, how is the fruit development these days? Luo Sha casually greeted Jin Bing. I'm not a person who likes to boast, but I have indeed undergone a lot of training these days, so, there are still some results. Kim said nonchalantly, but a look of distress flashed in Vanessa's eyes. Only she knows what kind of. A lot of training, Jin Bin said. After Wesley died, Kim drilled himself like crazy. Scared Vanessa. That's why Vanessa pushed everything away in a hurry, and made time to buy devil fruits, and finally pulled Jin Bing out. Faith, just because of your attitude, I believe that the fruit of steel will be well developed in your hands. Luo Sha nodded approvingly at the other party. I hope so too. Jin Bin nodded, and a stern light flashed in his eyes very vaguely. When his fruits are developed to a certain extent, he will make those few people pay the due price. I came here this time mainly to accompany Vanessa to buy fruits. Can the store manager trouble you to show Vanessa the illustrated book? After exchanging a few words with Luo Sha, Jin Bing explained to Luo Sha why he came here. Definitely. Luo Sha took out the illustration book and handed it to Vanessa. Vanessa glanced at it, and immediately showed a look of surprise. As Jin Bing said, the fruits listed in this illustrated book are too weird, and they have opened a door to a new world for Vanessa. Different from others, Vanessa has seen the steel fruit of Jin Bin with her own eyes, so she knows that the incredible things described in the illustrated book are real. Unbelievable, Vanessa exclaimed subconsciously, and then said hello to Luo Sha, shop manager. Excuse me, I'll take a look at this illustrated book with Faith first. Madam Vanessa, please. Luo Sha smiled at Vanessa. Vanessa and Jin Bing got together and carefully studied which fruit to choose. But after about 15 minutes, the two still raised their heads in embarrassment. Shop manager, we don't know which fruit is better to choose, why don't you recommend one to us? Jin looked at Luo Sha and said, although there are introductions of devil fruits in the illustrated book, they are all simple introductions and some general introductions. The real ability and development direction of the corresponding fruit, they are naturally not as deep as the store manager Luo Sha. Therefore, the illustrated book can only be used as a directory and an index most of the time. If you want to really buy the fruit you want, you still have to ask the store manager Luo Sha. What kind of fruit do you want? You might as well talk about it, and I'll see if there is something more suitable. Luo Sha nodded and readily agreed. Isn't it his duty as a store manager to answer customers' questions and provide customers with consulting services? To be honest with the store manager, Vanessa was poisoned some time ago, and this incident has made me very sad. When Jin Bing talked about this matter now, he was full of fear. If it wasn't for Dr. Zhao, the consequences would be disastrous, so I think, store manager, do you have a fruit here that can prevent this kind of thing from happening again? With Jin Bin's power, it is very simple to arrange a large number of people to protect Vanessa. Jin is not afraid of those routine assassinations. Those who are malicious towards Vanessa can't even get close to Vanessa at all. What Jin Bin is most afraid of is poisoning. It's almost impossible to guard against. No, not even preventable. After all, you can't let Vanessa eat it after testing all 3 meals a day to make sure they are non-toxic, right? That's unrealistic. So the best way is to fundamentally solve the human body's poisoning attribute. Under normal circumstances, this is naturally impossible, but now, with the magical devil fruit, it may not be impossible. Although there is no such fruit as the antivirus fruit in the illustrated book, it also does not say that the steel fruit can make the fist shine. Of course, you have to ask the store manager about this kind of thing. So Faith, Vanessa, is your core appeal to be immune to poisoning? Luo Sha looked at the two and asked confirmingly. Yes, store manager, that's exactly what we want. Vanessa and Jin Bing nodded in unison. If it's immune poisoning, I really have a plan here. Luo Sha thought for a while, and soon came up with a very suitable devil fruit, and said to the two of them. Shop manager, please tell me. Vanessa asked impatiently. Sure enough, it's useless for them to study blindly in private, and it's king to ask the experts of devil fruit. The fruit I recommend here is called squeezed fruit. Luo Sha pointed to a fruit on the illustrated book in front of the two of them and introduced it. That's right, the definitely that Luo Sha recommended to Vanessa is not a poisonous fruit. It is okay to say that in the world of pirates, but it is completely inapplicable in modern society. Not to mention that Vanessa is still a lady, and having diarrhea every day is a bit too wasted up. As for things that are temporarily out of stock, this is not a problem. I am really optimistic about it and so on. It is nothing, and the more expensive price is also nothing. Squeeze the fruit. Jin Bing and Vanessa looked at each other, a little confused. They have seen this fruit, but they didn't pay much attention to it at all. Isn't this thing just a fruit for squeezing juice? Is it too different from immune poisoning or something? Squeeze the fruit. Ability users can squeeze out the water in the body of the object they touch, and produce juice. Shop manager, according to the introduction in the illustrated book, is this a fruit for squeezing juice? Jin Bin looked at Luo Sha and asked with a questioning face. Vanessa beside Jin Bing was also confused. Faith, Vanessa, squeezing fruit can indeed produce juice, but the production of juice is only a side effect. The real core function of squeezing fruit is to extract water from objects. The objects here are not objects in the usual sense, but also include human bodies. Luo Sha smiled and explained for Jin Bing and Vanessa. Extracting water from the human body. Kim wasn't very surprised. If this is the case, wouldn't squeezing the fruit be regarded as an offensive fruit? After all, if the human body is short of water to a certain percentage, it will be life-threatening. But even so, squeezing fruit and being immune to poisoning didn't seem to go hand in hand. Don't worry, Faith, you'll understand after listening to my slow introduction. Seeing Jin Bing and Vanessa's eagerness for knowledge, Luo Sha laughed. He didn't hold back either, and directly stated what the two of them were most concerned about. It is precisely because of the characteristic that squeezing the fruit can extract water that it can make the user immune to poisoning. To be more precise, it is actually invulnerable to all poisons. It can't prevent ability people from being poisoned, but it can prevent toxins from harming ability people. Because ability users can extract the toxins and water from the body together. So it is. Jin Bing and Vanessa can be said to be amazed. The use of squeezed fruit is far beyond their expectations. It is simply a big brain hole, full of whimsical ideas. It made them unable to keep up with their thoughts for a while. How could the two of them have imagined that a fruit that they didn't care about at all could have such a magical effect? The world of devil fruit is like a fairy tale world. Faith, don't you think this squeezed fruit is very romantic? Vanessa laughed at the side. Such a thing as immune poisoning is actually used in such a wonderful way, full of romanticism. It can be said that it is very in line with Vanessa's taste. It's not just that, the anti-poison is just a basic ability of squeezing the fruit. In addition, squeezing the fruit can also develop some other applications. For example, ability users can use ability to squeeze the water in the enemy's body during the process of fighting the enemy, and even spray the squeezed water out to attack the enemy. That's right, this fruit can also develop attack skills. I have to say, this is beyond my expectations. Jin said very unexpectedly. He admitted that he really underestimated this fruit before. Is that unexpected, Faith? I'm only halfway there. Luo Sha's words aroused the curiosity of Jin Bing and Vanessa once again. Could it be that there are other magical effects of squeezing the fruit? I just talked about the many applications of squeezing fruit, but those applications are all based on the ability of squeezing fruit to extract water, but in fact, squeezing fruit can not only extract water, but also absorb water. Luo Sha talked freely under the gaze of the two. Absorb moisture. Jin Bin and Vanessa looked at each other in bewilderment again. In this short moment, the young couple did not know how many times they did this kind of action, because they really couldn't figure out what to do with absorbing water. Extracting water can also pose a threat to the human body, but what is the use of absorbing water? The object of extracting water is others, but the object of absorbing water is yourself. So what's the use of allowing yourself to absorb more water? Unbelievable, totally unimaginable. Open your minds, unleash your imagination, and imagine what would happen if water kept pouring into a person's body. As a reminder, the capacity of the human body is limited, but the amount of water it can absorb is unlimited. Seeing Jin Bing's contemplative but clueless appearance, Luo Sha began to guide the two of them in a persuasive way. The amount of water the human body can hold is limited, but the amount of water it can absorb is unlimited, so if water is continuously inhaled into the human body will swell. It's like the stomach will swell after eating a full meal. If you keep absorbing water, the human body will look like this. But what's the use? Could it be self-destruct? Do not make jokes. Seeing that Jin Bing and Vanessa really have no imagination in this area, definitely this is completely understandable. After all, the two grew up in an objective and materialistic world, at least for most people it was like this in her eyes. Luo Sha didn't continue to play tricks. The answer was given directly. It will become a titan. That's right. Fruit squeezing ability users can absorb water from others to turn themselves into titans. Luo Sha said to Jin Bing and Vanessa. Giant, titan. Jin Bing and Vanessa were completely dumbfounded. It's like when Enelo saw that his lightning was ineffective against Luffy, all three views exploded. It exploded into molecular level dregs. It can't be put together. Absorb water to turn yourself into a titan, are you sure it's not a joke? Are we talking about the human body, or SpongeBob SquarePants? Do you want to turn yourself into a titan? Even if I have eaten a devil fruit, I still feel unbelievable. After several seconds, Jin Bing sighed with shock. As for Vanessa, needless to say, she is still a little stupid until now, as if she is listening to heaven. Yes, if you become a Titan, then naturally, after becoming a Titan, your corresponding strength will also increase exponentially, but your speed will not decrease. So ability users don't have to worry about the side effects of malfunctioning and inconvenient movement after they become a Titan. Definitely, as long as the excess water is squeezed out, ability patients can return to normal again, which is very convenient. Amazing, simply amazing. Vanessa couldn't help but exclaimed. Her face was already full of longing. Faith, I've decided, I'm about to squeeze the fruit. Vanessa immediately made such a decision. What do you think? Very good. Jin Bin nodded immediately, and he was also very satisfied with this fruit. Originally, his core appeal was only antivirus. As a result, now, not only is it invulnerable to all poisons, but it can also make people have good combat effectiveness and even turn into a Titan. Make a lot of money, really make a lot of money. Then the store manager, I have already decided, I want this squeezed fruit. After seeing that Jin Bing also supported, Vanessa said to Luo Sha with great anticipation without any worries. Very wise choice, Ms. Vanessa, in fact, this fruit is really suitable for you. Luo Sha smiled at Vanessa. For a woman, I don't need to say more about the skin care effect of a fruit that can absorb water at will, right? Vanessa's eyes lit up immediately. Even more excited than hearing that it can be immune to poisoning, can be gigantic, etc. After all, immune poisoning and so on are only for the sake of their own safety. In other words, it is a last resort preventive measure, and Vanessa originally doesn't like this kind of thing. But beauty is human nature. Both men and women love beauty. Definitely, women's love of beauty should be more refined. It is a desire from the heart for skin care, and it is a subjective and active desire. This is completely different from the appeal of immunity poisoning. One passive, one active, the difference is huge. And for anyone who pursues beauty, he knows how important it is to lock in moisture. I don't even know how many cosmetics use locking moisture as their main selling point. Moisturizing and locking the skin is extremely important for skin care. But it is a pity that the skin originally does not have the ability to lock water, so it can only artificially replenish water passively. However, right now, as long as she eats that magical fruit, Vanessa will be able to make her skin absorb moisture automatically. That's a big deal. Vanessa's skin will be greatly improved, even better than using those sky-high cosmetics. Not to mention anything else, based on this alone, Vanessa felt that she had to squeeze the fruit. It can lock the moisture of the skin independently. I bet this is the ability that all women dream of. Vanessa's slightly excited voice sounded again. She really couldn't wait. Manager, I want this fruit. As long as you like it, Ms. Vanessa. However, Ms. Vanessa, you came here by accident. The discount period of the store has passed, and now all the fruits are no longer discounted. Luo Sha spoke to Vanessa like this. Just yesterday, the system notified Luo Sha that the promotional period had passed, but Vanessa came today, which can be said to be really, very unfortunate. But this kind of thing, Vanessa actually doesn't care at all. Now she just wants to get this miraculous fruit right away, so she doesn't think about other things. What's more, money in the order of millions is nothing to her. It doesn't matter, store manager, this kind of magical thing cannot be measured by money. Regardless of whether there is a discount or not, we have picked up a huge bargain. Vanessa immediately said to Luo Sha. Thank you, Ms. Vanessa, for your understanding. If you squeeze the fruit, I will benefit 3 million USD. Luo Sha didn't say anything more, and made an offer to Vanessa without hesitation. This is by far the most expensive devil fruit sold by Luo Sha, even higher than Jin Bing's steel fruit. But to be honest, the potential of squeezing fruit is indeed greater than that of steel fruit. It's just that of these two couples, one can transform into red-hot steel, while the other can control water, and the attributes can be said to restrain each other. This is more interesting. I don't know who will win the fight when the two fruits are almost developed. Luo Sha couldn't help thinking maliciously. Shop manager, swipe your card. Without any nonsense, Vanessa immediately took out a bank card and handed it to Luo Sha. Drop. Transaction complete. Luo Sha took out the squeezed fruit and handed it to Vanessa, and reminded Vanessa to take a bite. In fact, Jin did not necessarily tell Vanessa about this kind of thing in advance, but Luo Sha, as a seller, naturally needed the necessary reminder. Thank you for the reminder from the store manager, then Faith, I'm starting to eat. Vanessa greeted Jin Bing, and couldn't wait to bite off the fruit in her mouth. Well, after her face twitched slightly, Vanessa resisted the urge to spit it out, and swallowed the soaring fruit in one gulp. Then, like other people who just ate the devil fruit, Vanessa's whole body became excited and excited. Because she clearly felt the changes in her body. It's amazing, is this the ability of a devil fruit? It's amazing. Vanessa was amazed. She felt as if she had turned into a sponge, she could clearly feel the moisture in the air, and could absorb that moisture. That's right, Vanessa tried to absorb the moisture in the air just now, and as a result, she really succeeded. She immediately felt that her skin was much more hydrated. Don't mention how surprised Vanessa is, let alone how excited she is. I believe Vanessa, you have already felt the change in yourself, right? Seeing Vanessa's appearance, Luo Sha smiled and said to the other party, but what you get now is the elementary level ability to extract the fruit. Maybe it's not up to the level of extracting toxins from the body at will, but it doesn't matter, pay attention to practice, that's it. I understand, the manager. Vanessa nodded heavily, and praised Luo Sha and the devil fruit again. After thinking about it for a while, she raised her head again, looked at Luo Sha solemnly and said, the store manager, Faith said that you can only buy 3 devil fruits here, so I want to buy 2 more. Warning, warning, there is an illegal order, please deal with the host immediately. Luo Sha was a little excited when she heard that Vanessa planned to buy 2 more, but who would have thought that such a notification sound would come from the system? This made Luo Sha stunned for a moment. Illegal order. This obviously refers to Vanessa's order to buy 2 more devil fruits. Why is this order illegal? Luo Sha didn't know why, so he immediately asked the system this question in his mind. Vanessa Marianne bought the devil fruit for the purpose of helping Wilson Faith build 2 abilities, and the order placed by this motive is regarded as an illegal order. The system's explanation immediately sounded in his mind. Was it like this? Luo Sha was lost in thought. He vaguely understands the meaning of the system rule, and it is obvious that this is to avoid the behavior of a certain person or a certain force. Otherwise, a certain person or force can directly empty out his small shop, and the pattern of this world will be completely subverted. System, besides the violation of Vanessa's behavior, are there any other violations? Luo Sha pondered for a while and asked again. Any form of behavior that promotes a person or a certain force to possess a large number of devil fruits is a violation of the rules. Vanessa, as Jin Bing's wife, why is it that the first fruit she bought is not a violation, but the next 2 fruits are considered a violation? The first fruit that Vanessa Mariana bought was for her own use, not to help Wilson Faith, so it is not considered a violation. Does it look like this? Luo Sha understood a little. Chapter 41. I'm sorry, Ms. Vanessa, you bought the other 2 devil fruits, but you plan to give them to Faith, right? After figuring everything out, Luo Sha looked at Vanessa with confidence and said. Vanessa couldn't help being stunned for a moment, with an unstoppable look of surprise on her face. Could the store manager be able to see through people's hearts? She guessed her purpose right away. Yes, this is indeed her mind. But since Luo Sha guessed it right, Vanessa has nothing to deny. In her view, this kind of thing is above board, and there is nothing to hide. Yes, the store manager, I really intend to give it to Faith, because he needs these devil fruits more than I do. Vanessa nodded and admitted directly. I'm sorry, Ms. Vanessa, there is a purpose in restricting the purchase of devil fruits in small stores, which is to prevent individuals from controlling a large number of devil fruits. Regardless of the method, the number of devil fruits at the disposal of the same person cannot exceed the purchase limit of 3. Coincidentally, Faith has already bought 3 devil fruits, so, I can only say sorry. Quote. Luo Sha said directly to Vanessa. Vanessa was stunned. She didn't expect things to be like this. Jin Bing did mention the devil fruit purchase restriction to Vanessa, but Vanessa didn't really take it to heart, or didn't think deeply about it. After all, there are many commodities in real life that are restricted to purchase, and that is just a marketing method, nothing more. There is no deep meaning. It is said that it is a purchase restriction, but it only needs to be willing to pay. In fact, there is no threshold. Vanessa did not expect that there is such a meaning behind the restriction on the purchase of devil fruits. It is the kind of real purchase restriction, the kind that money can't buy. So that's the case. I'm sorry, the store manager, I didn't think about it properly. After Vanessa reacted, not only did she not feel angry about this behavior of not selling the goods, but immediately apologized to Luo Sha. Although Luo Sha showed the appearance of a well-mannered big boy, but he was able to sell something as miraculous as a devil fruit. Even if he used his thighs to think about it, he knew that he was a big god they couldn't afford to provoke. Although it was an unintentional move, it broke the rules of the devil fruit shop anyway, and Vanessa still felt a burst of trepidation. Shop manager, Vanessa didn't mean to offend. Even Jin Bin immediately opened his mouth to explain to Vanessa. Those who don't know are not to blame, I did not explain this rule in advance. Luo Sha waved his hands to the two. Seeing that Luo Sha really didn't seem to mind, Vanessa and Jin Bing breathed a sigh of relief. But Jin Bing couldn't help but secretly say it's a pity in his heart. In fact, he really had this idea before, planning to let some of his confidants come to buy some devil fruits again. But now it seems that this is completely impossible. The store manager has clearly stated that it is not allowed for one person to control a large number of devil fruits. Either way, the transaction between the two parties is now over. As always, Luo Sha asked Vanessa, to be precise, Vanessa Mariana's opinion, and then pulled her into the group. Store manager. At everyone, another family member has joined the group, welcome. Vanessa Mariana. Hi everyone, I am a new devil fruit ability user, and I am very happy to join this big family. Because there is already a Vanessa in the group, the current Vanessa has added her last name as a distinction. Wade Wilson. There's a newcomer here. She's still a female group member. Does the newcomer know the rules of the group? To join the group, you need to have a big photo and 3 measurements. Definitely, if you are too ugly, you don't want it. Then Luo Sha saw that the muscles on Jin Bing's face began to twitch crazily. It looks like he's going to kill someone. Wilson Faith. Mr. Wade, Ms. Vanessa is my fiancé. I am very concerned about this kind of rude and impolite harassment. I solemnly warn you, please keep your mouth shut. Vanessa. I'm sorry Faith, Wade is such a mean person, he just wanted to say hello to Vanessa. Wait a minute, Vanessa. Wade Wilson. Vanessa. Vanessa. Faith, my wife's name is exactly the same as your fiancé's. Then don't take photos, otherwise when I hug my wife, if I accidentally think of your fiancé, then even if I cheated. Wade Wilson. My dear, don't worry, my love for you is stronger than diamonds. Even if the other Vanessa is really beautiful, I won't cheat. Jin Bin's brows jumped up again. Luo Sha was really speechless. He really regretted bringing Wade into the group. That mouth on this guy is just plain. If he didn't have the perverted ability and super strength almost like regenerative healing factor, it wouldn't be an exaggeration for him to be hacked to death 10,000 times, right? Ding. Wade Wilson was banned by the group owner for 2 hours. In order to maintain a good environment in the group, Luo Sha banned Deadpool without any hesitation. Store manager. Pay attention to speaking in a civilized manner in the group. At Wade Wilson, next time you will be banned for a month. Vanessa. Good job, manager. Vanessa Mariana. Thank you, manager. Wilson Faith. Thanks to the store manager. Helen Zhao may have been busy all the time, and this time Vanessa Mariana joined the group without bubbles. It's nothing. But Wesley, the bullet fruit ability player, didn't say a word from the beginning to the end, which made Luo Sha slightly surprised. This is my own proprietress, why doesn't Wesley express it? What Luo Sha never imagined was that Wesley would never be able to speak. But Luo Sha was just a little curious about this kind of thing, and didn't think too much about it. Immediately afterwards, he put away those messy thoughts and started to update a group announcement. Group announcement. Dear family members, some people may not know the true meaning of the store's purchase limit of 3 devil fruits, so here is a special explanation. What the small store restricts is the ownership, or right to control, of devil fruits. A buyer can only control up to 3 devil fruits. Whether you buy it yourself, have someone buy it on your behalf, or have a good-hearted person give away a devil fruit, in all cases, you can only control 3 devil fruits at most, please remember. Quote. The tone of this announcement was still very serious and formal, and it immediately blasted everyone in the group out. Vanessa. Got it. Vanessa Mariana. Got it. Wilson Faith. Got it. Helen Zhao. Got it. Zhao Hailun, who has been diving all the time, replied in a careless manner this time. As for Wesley, still nothing. But Luo Sha didn't take this kind of thing to heart, who didn't have a time when it was inconvenient. Maybe Wesley was really busy. Shop manager, don't bother me, goodbye. Faith, Vanessa, bye. After Jin Bing and Vanessa left, Luo Sha's place temporarily recovered. Originally, Luo Sha was thinking that there were no customers at the moment, so he might as well bring 2 more pesticides, but Deadpool started sending Luo Sha crazy private messages again. Manager, you can't be so cruel, can't you be so ruthless, can't you? I'm just saying hello to the new group members, don't you need to ban me? Master, do you know that you have hurt my heart, my feelings, and my body? You might ask why my body was hurt, it's because Vanessa just beat me up. Say I offended you, the store manager. Puff 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 puff. Then came a series of messages. It made Luo Sha a big head. Deadpool is really not something that ordinary people can lower. Stop for me non-stop, or you will be blocked directly. Luo Sha sent such a sentence to Deadpool angrily. It's not that Luo Sha doesn't know how to be polite, nor is it that Luo Sha has any prejudice against Deadpool, it's really a last resort, it's all a lesson learned from previous blood. Because otherwise, Deadpool couldn't be shut up. Sure enough, after Luo Sha said such a sentence, Deadpool really stopped swiping the screen. Shop manager, let me tell you something serious, you may see me on TV after a while. Deadpool said to Luo Sha with a hint of showing off. Wade, you were discovered by a scout, are you going to make a movie? Luo Sha laughed and teased the other party. Do you want to make a movie? It's a very good idea, I like it. Maybe I will actually make a movie in the future and become a star. Oh my god, store manager, you are so talented, you have refound my life direction. It is said that Green Lantern may be turned into a film and television if I can play Green Lantern. Then Deadpool started dreaming about Luo Sha. Luo Sha. Deadpool, are you serious? Luo Sha is really looking forward to this point. If Deadpool really went to shoot Green Lantern, would he regret it so much that he wanted to commit suicide? This is really interesting. Green Lantern. Wade, I think this role is tailor-made for you. Come on, you can do it. Luo Sha said to Deadpool with a hint of evil taste. So I have to perform well this time. Deadpool looked full of energy. Although it's just a commercial, I think this is the beginning of my becoming a film and television superstar. Advertisement. What's the situation? Luo Sha chatted with Deadpool, and just realized what was going on. It turned out that Deadpool was inadvertently seen by the planning manager of a well-known cosmetics brand, and the other party was stunned by Deadpool's flawless skin. So they invited Deadpool to be their brand ambassador and help them sell masks. If the response is good, they even plan to ask Deadpool to shoot corresponding commercials for them. After Luo Sha finished listening, she was also dumbfounded. Deadpool sells face masks. Is it okay? How did this style of painting become so crooked? Actually, I didn't want to go, but they were so sincere, telling me that I just need to stand there and let others appreciate my face, and I don't have to do anything else. For this reason, they also offered a high price, 10,000 United States dollars for an event, which is like picking up money for nothing. I asked them to book a hotel for me, and I wanted to bring Vanessa with me, and they didn't mind. The only thing they ask of me is to admit that I used their mask on my face. Manager, don't you mind that? Deadpool happily showed off his bizarre experience to Luo Sha. This made Luo Sha have to sigh. Deadpool really deserves to be a wonderful work in the Marvel world. When a wonderful person encounters a wonderful thing, it is absolutely amazing. After chatting with Deadpool, Luo Sha had time to pick up her mobile phone and entered the Pesticide International server. There were a few 3v3s, and once again received a lot of scolding from the teammates. A group of rookies, you have the nerve to talk about me. Only a dishonest person will blame his teammates. Luo Sha curled her lips in disdain, ignored those rookies, and continued with a new round of matching. The other side, Helen Zhao's research center. Hi Dr. Xavier, I've heard of you for a long time. No, Dr. Helen Zhao, you are the most famous during this time. Professor X, who was sitting in a wheelchair, smiled and greeted Zhao Helen in front of him. However, as you can see, some objective factors prevent me from standing up, so please forgive my rudeness. Drive Xavier, you are joking, please come inside. Zhao Helen shook hands with Professor X in the wheelchair very politely, and then personally brought Professor X into her research room. She knew that Professor X was a mutant, but Zhao Hailun, like Luo Xia, was not so hostile to mutants, and definitely did not like or support them. It is an attitude of indifference. But for the famous Professor X, Zhao Hailun still respects him very much. Because regardless of his identity as a mutant, Professor X is originally a scholar with extensive knowledge and memorization. It is a well-known authority in the field of genetic variation. Zhao Hailun has always respected such a big bull in the academic world. Hank, could you please push me in? Professor X said to Hank, who was pushing the wheelchair behind him, and then he and Helen Zhao chatted while walking. Drive Zhao, I'm not boasting, but I have experienced many things in my life, and few things can surprise me. Professor X's words are really not his bragging. Throughout his life, he has fought side by side with people from the future, stopped robots that almost destroyed the world, and fought aliens. It can be called magnificent and splendid. But what happened to Oaks really made me curious. I didn't expect him to stand up so quickly. There was still a hint of surprise in Professor X's tone. Just a while ago, a student from Xavier College had a car accident and broke his leg, comminuted fracture, and came to Helen Zhao's place the next day alive and kicking. This kind of thing is simply incredible, and can even be called an extraordinary event. Professor X's first reaction was that the person who shot was a mutant, because only in this way can it be explained. But when he found Zhao Hailun with the brainwave enhancer, he found that Zhao Hailun was not a mutant at all, but an ordinary person. That's why Professor X's visit came about. Professor Xavier, in fact, I also had a chance encounter. If you want to believe it, I don't mind telling you, but I'm afraid you think I'm a lunatic. Helen Zhao said to Professor X helplessly. There is no way, something like a devil fruit is too bizarre, completely beyond the usual cognition of everyone, and even sounds a bit fanciful. In addition, Zhao Hailun's field of research is the field of bio-nano, and the regeneration cradle she invented is also a high-tech product based on bio-nanotechnology to repair the human body. That's why many people would rather believe that Helen Zhao cured them using bio-nanotechnology, rather than believe in things like devil fruits. Although Zhao Hailun's so-called treatment was carried out with bare hands from the beginning to the end. But people are always like this. For things they don't understand, they always subconsciously use their usual thinking. I'm even more curious when you say that, Dr. Zhao, let's hear it. Professor X stared at Zhao Hailun with twinkling eyes and said. In fact, Ox basically told Professor X about the matter, and Professor X had heard this kind of rhetoric about devil fruit a long time ago. At this moment, he really has a lot of curiosity, not the doubt that ordinary people would have. Having said that, Helen Zhao brought Professor X to the reception room of the research center, and she politely greeted Professor X to take a seat. Then he ordered his assistant to serve a cup of coffee to Professor X and Hank. Then he said to Professor X, Professor Xavier, in fact, I did not use bio-nanometer technology to cure Oaks. Although I can also repair his legs with the regenerative cradle, it is not so perfect and efficient. Although the regenerative cradle has broken some technical barriers, it is not perfect and there is still a long way to go. What I used to heal Oaks is a devil fruit ability. Devil fruit. Sounds very interesting. Dr. Zhao, please continue. With a faint smile on his face, Professor X made a gesture of invitation to Helen Zhao. Zhao Hailun saw that Professor X didn't raise any doubts, so he continued, it's a fruit beyond everyone's usual cognition. If you eat a devil fruit, you will get a super ability. And the devil fruit I ate is called a healing fruit, so I got the super ability that can heal others. Can people obtain super ability fruits? I never imagined that there is such a magical thing in the world. Professor X was amazed. Professor Xavier, you believe what I say? Helen Zhao asked in surprise. She had told so many people about the devil fruit, but she believed it right away, and it was the first time she encountered it. It even made Zhao Hailun feel that Professor X was deliberately perfunctory. After all, such an unbelievable thing is really hard to believe. That's right, Helen Zhao only knows that Professor X is a mutant, but she doesn't know what the specific ability of Professor X is. Otherwise she wouldn't be so surprised. Well, Professor X laughed. I can tell if a person is lying, but you, Dr. Zhao, just told the truth. Thank you for your trust, Professor Xavier. Helen Zhao froze for a moment, then said to Professor X sincerely. You're welcome, Dr. Zhao, I'm counting on you. Professor X put down the coffee in his hand, and a look of expectation appeared on his face. Now, I think we can start. Okay, Helen Zhao nodded, and then said to Hank, Mr. Hank, can I trouble you to push the professor out? Push this way. Definitely, Hank nodded politely, then pushed Professor X to another open place. Helen Zhao squatted down in front of Professor X, put her hands on Professor X's shoulders, and said with a confident smile, it will be ready in a few minutes, doctor, very soon. With that said, Helen Zhao activated her own ability to treat Professor X. Professor X immediately felt a little nervous. After being disabled for so many years, in fact, Professor X has already accepted his fate, but that was when Professor X's illness could not be cured, in other words, when Professor X was desperate. But now, Professor X suddenly saw the hope of healing his legs, and he couldn't keep calm either. Can stand up, who wants to be a cripple for the rest of his life? Especially when the moment to determine his fate is approaching, Professor X is like those candidates who come out to check their results in the college entrance examination, expecting, nervous, worried, afraid. All kinds of emotions pile up together, which is called a tangle. In just 3 minutes, it felt as long as 3 years. Okay, Professor Xavier. It wasn't until Zhao Hailun's voice rang in his ears that he finally pulled Professor X back. Professor X took a deep breath, and then he immediately felt that his legs, which he hadn't felt for a long time, were quilt perception again. This. Professor X's face flushed with excitement, and he couldn't even speak. He supported the wheelchair and stood up all of a sudden. Professor, you stand up. Hank was surprised and delighted, and even tears welled up in the corners of his eyes. Hank has been by Professor X's side since the first battle, never leaving, and it is still the case after so many years. The relationship between the two is needless to say. Especially Hank also witnessed how Professor X became disabled. Yes, Hank, I'm standing up. Professor X yelled loudly, as happy as a child, and even took 2 steps on the spot. It was a long-lost feeling of walking. Because Zhao Hailun's cure is a perfect cure, Professor X's atrophied muscles that haven't been moved for decades are also cured, so Professor X can walk immediately. That's it. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Dr. Zhao, is this a devil fruit? It's a miracle. Professor X kept admiring in an excited and shocked tone. Although he had already seen the miracle of Oak standing up, being a bystander and experiencing this kind of thing are 2 completely different experiences. Professor Xavier, congratulations on getting back on your feet. Zhao Hailun sent a congratulatory message while smiling. Seeing the patient's unconcealable smiling face when he was cured by herself is the source of Zhao Hailun's strength. Drive Zhao, thank you. You made me stand up again. I never could believe that I still have such a day. Professor X said from the heart. Professor, do you need to let Dr. Zhao treat your hair? Hank asked weakly from the side at this moment. Professor X. Devil fruit store. My hand actually turned into a claw. I'm going, there are spots on these hairs, and I turned into a Dalmatians. This is really exciting, woof woof. Oh ho ho ho, look at this tail, it's perfect. ... Excited voices rang out one after another. Half human, half dog, guy was so excited that he was about to jump up when he saw the changes in his body. He even reached out and rubbed his own dog's head. I squeezed myself so comfortably that I squinted my eyes. Luo Sha on the side couldn't help but feel very speechless. The animal fruit is for you to gain the strength and agility of animals, not for you to treat yourself as a pet dog. Still be so intoxicated. But while he was speechless, Luo Sha was also very pleased. After so many days, he finally met a guy who was not afraid of death. When the other party saw the colorful and strange devil fruit, he was actually very excited. It seems that Columbus discovered the new world, and he couldn't wait to try it. As a result, the scene in front of me appeared. This cool little tail. These cute little ears. This. Hey, what's going on? Why did I change back again? Just intoxicated. 5 minutes is up. A young man with a hip-hop style and a very trendy look appeared as the prototype. He immediately shouted at Luo Sha with dissatisfaction. Guest, trying to eat the sample can only last for 5 minutes, and now the time is up. Luo Sha patiently explained to the trendy man, if you want to obtain this ability permanently, you need to eat a devil fruit. Then why are you standing still? Hurry up and take out the fruit, I want it. The trendy man urged Luo Sha impatiently. Sir, the one you want is in the form of a canine fruit in the form of a Dalmatian, and the price is 500,000 United States dollars. Luo Sha quoted the price to the other party. It's really long-winded, 500,000 is 500,000, I can't afford it, what, 500,000? The trendy man's voice suddenly rose several octaves, his eyes widened and he shouted unacceptably, Boss, what are you doing to steal money? Are you selling a piece of fruit for 500,000? Sir, let me emphasize that this is not a fruit, but a devil fruit, no bargaining. Luo Sha still smiled politely at the other party. Boss, don't be so ruthless. You see, I want this fruit so much, but I really don't have that much money. How about a discussion? Excuse me, okay, it's such a pity, can I continue to try other fruits? If you don't want to explode and die, we'll explode and die. Boss, please give me one immediately. Luo Sha, this person is too weird. Sure enough, there are few foreigners for no reason. Excuse me sir, the store stipulates that repeated tastings are not allowed. Well, what a pity. The trendy man walked away with a long sigh. Luo Sha looked at the trendy man's disappearing figure submerged in the crowd, and couldn't help but shook his head. For more than half an hour, I was really tossing around with this guy. Frankly speaking, Luo Sha was quite excited when the trendy man showed his interest in devil fruit and tried it happily. But looking at it now, Luo Sha felt that she might have thought too much. Under normal circumstances, people like trendy men who easily believe in the devil fruit's rhetoric and try it easily probably have little money. The kind of real rich people, it is estimated that they will act relatively rationally and cautiously. Forget it, waste my feelings, let's use some pesticides. Luo Sha quickly logged into the Pesticide International server again, and started a hearty fight. However, Luo Sha's hand feeling may not be very good today. He played 5 rankings in a row, and lost each one very rhythmically. Diamond 2, which was finally hit, fell to Diamond 1. This made Luo Sha a little depressed. Well, it must be because the heroes of the international server are different from the national server, and the reason for playing is not smooth. I was full of breath and was about to give it another shot, when the wind chime at the door of the store rang. Luo Sha looked up, only to see a man in a windbreaker with a strong British style walking into her shop. I go, Kazumi, and it's still a beauty of the uncle's version. Luo Sha couldn't help but take another look at the visitor, and quickly recalled some of the characters in Marvel in his mind. He only thought of one person with a beautiful face. Could this be Professor X? But Professor X can actually walk. And the opponent's head still has hair. Luo Sha was a little uncertain about who this British man was. A very cozy little shop, decorated in a very stylish way, which makes people feel a kind of tranquility. The British-style man looked around the store, then nodded his approval to Luo Sha and said, I don't know if I really think so, or if I'm just being polite. Anyway, Luo Sha himself thinks this store is mediocre, with nothing special about it. Thank you for your compliment. Thinking that way in her heart, Luo Sha went out to greet the guests politely. I'm not complimenting, I'm just expressing my feelings. The British-style man smiled slightly at Luo Sha, and then extended his hand to Luo Sha, Charles Xavier. Charles Xavier, it's really Professor X. Suddenly, Luo Sha realized that Professor X must have gone to Helen Zhao to cure her paraplegia and baldness. That's right, Helen Zhao was talking about treating Mutant in the group a while ago. Could it be that Professor X was what Helen Zhao was talking about? But to be honest, Luo Sha felt nothing when Professor X stood up, but Luo Sha was a little uncomfortable with the sudden thick hair of the other party. Professor X, who always feels that he is not bald, has no soul. Luo Sha. The slander did not delay Luo Sha's greeting with Professor X, he extended his hand and shook Professor X's hand. Hello, store manager Luo Sha, you must still remember Dr. Helen Zhao. Professor X began to exchange pleasantries with Luo Sha. Definitely, I am very grateful to Dr. Zhao for taking good care of the shop when it first opened. Luo Sha said to Professor X with a smile. I experienced something incredible with Dr. Zhao. I lost my legs forever in an accident many years ago, but at Dr. Zhao's, she got me back on my feet in just a few minutes. Quote. Honestly, even if I'm standing here as a normal person, I still can't believe this kind of thing, it's unbelievable. So the store manager, are these the magical devil fruits that Dr. Zhao mentioned? As Professor X said, he set his sights on the devil fruits in the showcase. As you can see, Mr. Xavier, these are devil fruits. Luo Sha nodded at the side. I believe Dr. Zhao must have told you, right, each of these fruits can give people a super ability. Yes, Dr. Zhao introduced these miraculous fruits to me. I didn't expect such miraculous things to exist in the world. Then store manager, can I trouble you to introduce these devil fruits to me? Professor X made this request to Luo Sha very politely. Luo Sha took out the illustrated book and handed it to Professor X. Mr. Xavier, please take a look at the illustrated book first. If you like any one, I will introduce it to you. Thank you, manager. Professor X took over the illustrated book from Luo Sha, and began to browse carefully. Then Luo Sha saw that Professor X's eyes lit up, and his face was full of surprise. The various miraculous devil fruits can be said to have made Professor X re-understand the world, and he couldn't help being amazed. It's amazing, it's incredible. While watching, Professor X couldn't help sighing. Luo Sha didn't speak, just stood aside with a smile, admiring the way Professor X was shocked by the devil fruit just like the other buyers. Don't tell me, it's quite interesting. Inspirational fruit, very good. After looking at it for a few minutes, Professor X's eyes fell on a fruit in the illustrated book, and he nodded with great satisfaction. Mr. Xavier, what you are talking about is the fruit of encouragement. Just like its name, the fruit of encouragement has the effect of mobilizing other people's emotions and inspiring people. Based on Luo Sha's understanding of devil fruits, he naturally realized what kind of fruit Professor X was talking about. Mr. Xavier is interested in encouraging fruits. Luo Sha looked at Professor X curiously again. I'm a teacher, and my daily job is to lecture and teach. I'm thinking, if I eat the fruit of encouragement, will the effect of my class be better? Professor X looked at Luo Sha with great anticipation and said, that's natural. Luo Sha nodded without hesitation. Although the name of the encouragement fruit is called the encouragement fruit, its function is not just to inspire. As I said, the encouragement fruit can mobilize other people's emotions. The emotions here can be the enthusiasm for class, the courage in people's hearts, some positive energy, and definitely some negative and dark emotions. In short, eat the fruit of encouragement, and the emotions of others in the hands of the ability owner are like a switch, which can be controlled by you. Very good fruit. Professor X smiled, and he expressed his satisfaction. It seems that my classes will be very, very exciting in the future, so the store manager, I want this fruit of encouragement. The ability of Professor X originally is mind control, which can read other people's memories and control other people's thinking. But Professor X's control is a very simple and crude kind of control. Once he controls others, he becomes his marionette. In other words, Professor X can only control, but not influence. This makes Professor X fall into two extremes: either completely control it, or ignore it. The area between the two is beyond the reach of Professor X. But now, the fruit of encouragement is to make up for this shortcoming for Professor X. From another point of view, Professor X, who possesses the spiritual ability, can easily feel other people's emotions. He basically doesn't need to develop this fruit, and he can be very proficient once he gets started. From the point of view of ability compatibility alone, the inspiring fruit and Professor X's spiritual ability still complement each other and complement each other. Mr. Xavier, this fruit is indeed very suitable for your career. If you encourage the fruit, I will give you 2 million USD. Shop manager, swipe your card. Drop. Both parties closed the deal very quickly. Luo Sha took out the fruit of encouragement and handed it to Professor X. Professor X naturally didn't have any nonsense, so he ate a mouthful of encouraging fruit in front of Luo Sha. This feeling, so this is a devil fruit. Fantastic. Professor X felt the wonderful changes in his body at this moment, and couldn't help being amazed again. He felt that he was amazed more times today than in the whole of last year. After the transaction was completed, Luo Sha brought Professor X into the group as usual. Store manager. At everyone, our Devil Fruit House has welcomed a new family member, everyone welcome. Charles Xavier. Hi everyone, I'm Charles Xavier, I'm a scholar, and I focus on genetic variation. It's a pleasure to meet you. Vanessa. Wade, whatever you want to say, please shut up and think about it first. Vanessa. Wow, is there another intellectual in the group? It's still the direction of genetic variation research, it feels so powerful. Helen Zhao. Professor Xavier, I guessed it was you, welcome to join our big family. Hailun Zhao. In addition, everyone, Professor Xavier is modest. He is an absolute authority in the industry. He was already a professor at Oxford University when he was in his 20s. Everyone in the group gasped. To become a professor at such a world-class university in his 20s is a real boss. Not convinced. Wade Wilson. I made a big move, I became a professor in my 20s. I'm a good guy. I was still playing when I was in my 20s. Fortunately I stopped in time, the store don't stop me from talking this time, I'll stop. Vanessa Mariana. Professor Xavier turned out to be such a genius, amazing. Charles Xavier. Everyone praised me, I was just lucky and got some small approval from everyone. Wade Wilson. Wow, Xavier, you are so amazing. Okay, the surprise is over, then Xavier, the rules for newcomers to join the group, blast 3, cough cough, burst fruit, what fruit did you buy? Charles Xavier. Mr. Wade, what I bought is the fruit of inspiration. This fruit can make my classroom atmosphere more active. Vanessa. Professor Xavier is indeed a dedicated scholar, which is admirable. Everyone else in the group also worshipped one after another. Devil fruit is such a magical thing, Charles Xavier actually just bought it for lectures. Not convinced. After a brief greeting with everyone in the group, Professor X withdrew and began to bid farewell to Luo Sha. Shop manager, don't bother me. I'll come to visit another day. If there is a chance, the store manager is welcome to visit Chin Gele Talent Academy. When Professor X left, he also extended an invitation to Luo Sha. Jean Grey Talent Academy. Luo Sha couldn't help being slightly taken aback. Isn't the Mutant Academy always named after Professor X? It's called the Xavier Academy for Teenage Talents. When did it become named after Phoenix? Could it be? Suddenly, Luo Sha completely understood everything. The X-Men series of movies is divided into an old version of the trilogy, and there is also a youth trilogy of Yimei and Fasha versions, and the second part of the youth trilogy is to reverse the future. It was in this movie that the future Wolverine came back in time, eliminated the Sentinel, prevented Magneto from killing the president, and thus changed the original development direction. The stories of the original trilogy of the old version no longer exist. In the reset version of the timeline, Magneto stopped Apocalypse with the X-Men and saved all mankind, so he no longer became a wanted criminal and successfully lived in seclusion. Professor X, through his continuous efforts, made the ordinary human society accept mutant. Even the X-Men are still very popular. Even the president, when astronauts have accidents in outer space, will call Professor X himself and ask Professor X to rescue them. It was also during that rescue that an unknown force invaded Phoenix's body, thus attracting the Dabali people to the Earth. In order to get the power in Phoenix, the leader of the Dabali people, Model Worker, contributed to the flames, which led to Phoenix's blacken. Definitely, at the most critical juncture, Phoenix came over and joined forces with Professor X, Magneto and others to fight against the Dabali people. In the end, Phoenix killed the leader of the Dabali people, Lao Moji, but sacrificed his own life. Because of this, in honor of Phoenix, Xavier College was renamed Jean Grey College. And Professor X retired successfully. Live a life of drinking tea and playing chess with Magneto. But that was many years ago, now it seems that Professor X has probably returned to Mutant Academy. In Deadpool, when Deadpool was brought to Mutant Academy by Colossus, Professor X was indeed inside. And that Professor X is indeed a beauty. So it seems. The marvel that Luo Sha traveled through is a world that has gone through a reversal of the future and reset the mutant timeline. In this world, the relationship between mutants and humans is not so dire at all, and human society has a great acceptance of mutants. Although some people still hate or even hostile to mutant, as far as the mainstream of society is concerned, accepting mutant is politically correct. Think about the plot in Deadpool 2. The X-Men, such as Colossus and Warhead, all carried out their missions above board. That is to say, in this world, there will no longer be sharp confrontations between mutants and humans, and there will no longer be Magneto bringing mutants to do things. This is a new era of mutant. Luo Xia quickly sorted out everything. No wonder, since he was reborn, he has always felt that the presence of mutant in this world is so low. It turns out that everyone is accustomed to mutant and generally accepts it. Then naturally, all people will not pay attention. This is a good thing for Luo Xia, at least this society will not be so chaotic. While thinking wildly, the wind chime at the door rang again, interrupting Luo Xia's thoughts. But I saw a woman with a very hot figure and a cold face, just walked into the store. Luo Xia looked up and glanced at the other party, slightly startled. This woman is so familiar, she is definitely a plot character. Erica. Soon, Luo Xia recognized who this woman was. Surprisingly, it is Daredevil's childhood sweetheart, and at the same time, Hei Kong, whom Shou Heihui is looking for, and Erica, Gunsu's apprentice. Luo Xia couldn't help feeling a little excited. Erica is not an ordinary woman. Millions of USD should not be a problem for this woman. This is a potential high-quality customer. Luo Xia quickly made such a judgment. Welcome to the store. Thinking of this in her heart, Luo Xia didn't delay, and greeted Erica politely. Thank you. Erica smiled at Luo Xia, nodded, and at the same time looked around calmly. Since the battle that night, Erica has always been worried about Wesley's hand shooting bullets, so she launched an investigation in secret. In the end, the clues at hand led her to this inconspicuous little shop. Like other customers who entered the store, Erica was attracted by the devil fruit in the showcase almost immediately. There is no way, the shape of the devil fruit is too cool, it is definitely the most beautiful boy in the crowd, it is difficult not to attract attention. Manager, what kind of fruits are these? Erica couldn't help but looked at the devil fruits in the showcase and asked. This is not a fruit, but a devil fruit. Luo Xia solemnly corrected Erica's mistake and introduced her to her. Devil fruit. Erica froze. Only then did I realize that the name of this store is Devil Fruit House. Originally, she thought that Devil Fruit was just a simple name, like Jack's Restaurant and Good Brothers Pizza, nothing more. Unexpectedly, the things sold here are actually called devil fruits. But what exactly is a devil fruit? She had never seen such a colorful fruit. Devil fruit. Erica frowned, and looked at Luo Xia with a very puzzled look. What kind of fruit is this? This is a fruit that contains magical power. If you eat this fruit, the eater can obtain a super ability. Luo Xia thought for a while, then briefly summarized the role of the devil fruit to Erica. Erica sneered subconsciously. How could there be such a miraculous fruit in this world? However, all of a sudden, Jin Bin's glowing fist and Wesley's strange bullet that shot him flashed through Erica's mind involuntarily. That made Erica's sneer freeze. Definitely the Iron Fist from Kunlun, Gunsu has already explained to Erica, but Wesley's bare-handed bullets, even Gunso doesn't know what's going on. Well, since a person's fist can be lit with chi, and bullets can be shot from the body with bare hands, it seems that eating the fruit of super ability is not too strange. Erica's attitude gradually changed. She looked directly at Luo Xia, and asked leisurely, what kind of super ability can I get? Is the super ability of shooting bullets with bare hands okay? In fact, Erica just asked casually, just giving an example, and didn't expect to get any definite answer from Luo Xia. But what Erica didn't expect was that when Luo Xia heard this sentence, she couldn't help laughing. It turns out that the guest has seen the bullet fruit, right? Bullet fruit. Erica couldn't help but frown. That's right, this is a fruit that allows people to shoot bullets from the body. People who eat this fruit can shoot bullets from their fingers or other parts of the body. Luo Xia said to Erica solemnly, and also took out the illustration book of the devil fruit. Point to the bullet fruit on it and show it to Erica. Look, guest, this is the bullet fruit. Erica looked down and found the bullet fruit on the illustrated book. There is also an introduction to the bullet fruit. It is exactly the same as what Luo Xia said and what Erica saw with her own eyes. Are devil fruits real? Erica couldn't help thinking so in her heart. Because this is an obvious thing, after all, it is impossible for this young man to prepare such a picture book in advance in order to fool her. Logically speaking, the existence of this illustration can only explain one problem, that is, the devil fruit is real. Master, do you know a man named Wesley? After a moment of silence, Erica raised her head, fixed her eyes on Luo Sha and asked. Hearing this sentence, Luo Sha became even more aware. It seemed that Erica had indeed seen the bullet fruit from Wesley. Although it was a bit strange how Erica and Wesley had an intersection, Luo Sha still nodded. Smiling at Erica. Yes, guessed, Wesley once bought bullet fruit in a small shop. Erica knew more and more. May I take a look at this illustration first? Erica said to Luo Sha again. Definitely, please do as you please. If you want to know which fruit you can tell me, I can introduce it to the guests in detail. It's not just that, each of our fruits has a sample to try. If you eat the sample, you can get a 5-minute ability. If guests are interested, they can also experience it for themselves. Luo Sha said to Erica politely. Can you try it? Get a 5-minute ability. As soon as Erica heard Luo Sha's words, her whole body was immediately refreshed. She put down the illustration book in her hand and said to Luo Sha, then can I try the bullet fruit? Although through her communication with Luo Sha, it is basically certain that Wesley bought the devil fruit here, but Erica still intends to further verify it. Because she has seen this supernatural phenomenon in advance, Erica's acceptance of devil fruit is relatively high. Definitely okay, please wait a moment, guest. Luo Sha readily agreed. If a guest is willing to try it, that is exactly what he likes to hear. Because as long as the customers try it, they will experience the magic of the devil fruit for themselves. At that time, it will not be Luo Sha who promotes the devil fruit, but the customers begging to buy it. Definitely, the premise is that the customer has enough financial resources, like the trendy guy the first received before. It is also a waste of time. But for Erica, Luo Sha believes that this is a master who is not short of money. Luo Sha immediately took out the sample of the bullet fruit and handed it to Erica. He also kindly reminded that the taste of devil fruit is very unpalatable. Is this the bullet fruit? Erica looked at the bullet fruit sample in her hand, pondered for a moment, and then swallowed the sample in one gulp. Wow, this thing is not so bad. Erica immediately showed a look of lingering fear. Originally, when Luo Sha reminded her, she still didn't care about it. How bad can it be? But thinking about her fear of being dominated by that smell just now, Erica said that she was a little scared. Based on this alone, Erica believed in devil fruits again. Because if Hiroto was really ignored, how could the store manager make the fruit so unpalatable? Compared with the magical ability brought to me, this taste is just an insignificant embellishment. At this time, Luo Sha smiled and said to Erica, does the guest feel the changes in his body now? At the beginning, Erica really didn't realize that she was patronizing the Shang-like taste in the mouth of aftertaste. But when Luo Sha reminded her at this moment, Erica immediately felt the changes in her body. She can feel that she has an extra ability to make bullets and fire bullets. This feeling, Erica's eyes widened, and she couldn't wait to run to the door of the devil fruit store in 2 steps, and then stretched out her hand to the outside. With a laugh, a bullet shot out from its slender fingertip immediately. It is true, I literally shot bullets out of my fingers. It turns out that he did that. Erica looked at her right hand and murmured in disbelief. Devil fruits are real. At this moment, Erica no longer had any doubts. In any case, she never imagined that such a magical thing as a devil fruit actually existed in this world. Then Erica didn't have any more nonsense. She couldn't wait to say hello to Luo Sha, and then began to carefully look through the illustrated book in her hand again. Guests, take a look. If you want to know more, just tell me, but if it's bullet fruit, it's out of stock. Luo Sha reminded Erica on the side. It's okay, bullet fruit is actually not my thing, Erica said with a nonchalant face. Erica was originally a killer, an assassin, who used cold weapons, and bullets and fruit were really not her thing. The reason why he wants to try the bullet fruit is nothing more than to verify whether Wesley's ability has eaten the devil fruit, that's all. In Erica's opinion, those other kinds of magical and interesting fruits are much more valuable than bullet fruits. Shop manager, I want to know, the thorns produced by this thorn fruit should not be the ordinary thorns in nature. After a while, Erica raised her head, looked at Luo Sha with interest and asked. Erica has taken a fancy to the fruit of thorns. Roses with thorns seem to be pretty good too. Luo Sha thinks this fruit is very suitable for Erica. Definitely, I understand what the guest means. The thorns produced by the thorn fruit are very strong, not weaker than a sword, and can even pierce rocks with ease. If there are concerns in this regard, then the guests don't have to worry at all. Luo Sha immediately explained to Erica. Are the thorns produced by this fruit so hard? Erica's eyes lit up when she heard this. Doesn't this mean that he can produce swords all over his body? Just a sword in a state of thorns. If that's the case. Erica tried to simulate that situation, and she couldn't help feeling more and more satisfied. That will have a great bonus effect on one's own strength. At that time, she can be said to have weapons all over her body, so she will ask you if you are afraid. Yes, guest, in the world of devil fruit, you need to put aside your daily cognition. Even some things that everyone is familiar with may undergo earth-shaking changes here. Luo Sha nodded and explained to Erica solemnly. It really is something miraculous. Erica said very approvingly, and then readily made a decision. Then manager, I want this thorn fruit. The thorn fruit is very suitable for the guests, and the guests are very good at choosing. Luo Sha first expressed affirmation to the other party, and then offered the thorn fruit. For the thorn fruit, the sincerity is 2 million USD. 2 million. Erica was slightly lost in thought. 2 million was almost her entire net worth. Once it was hollowed out, she would really become a complete poor ghost. But that pondering is only for a second, nothing more. Erica quickly forgot about the slightest hesitation, and even felt ridiculous for her hesitation just now. If you encounter such a heaven-defying thing as a devil fruit, you will be lucky. Even if you lose your fortune, you still have to buy one. What are you thinking about? Brain twitching. Shop manager, swipe your card. Erica immediately took out a bank card and handed it to Luo Sha. The transaction was completed quickly. Erica got the fruit of thorns she had been longing for, and couldn't wait to eat it. Then Erica became excited. Her face was full of joy. She felt her ability to control the thorns. Laugh. Just stretching out her hand like that, Erica thought about it, and a thorny thorn protruded from her palm. She tried it, and the hardness was astonishingly amazing. There is no problem with using it as a weapon. The key is that the weight of the thorns is still very light, much lighter than weapons. It will save a lot of physical strength and improve a lot of flexibility in the battle. Coupled with the fact that these thorns can suddenly pierce outward from any part of one's body, it is conceivable how important it will be in battle. This will greatly improve Erica's strength. Good, very good, store manager, I am very satisfied. With a smile on her face, Erica said approvingly. As long as the customer is satisfied. Luo Sha also responded with a smile, and also asked Erica for her opinion. The shop has formed a group for devil fruit ability users. Do you want to join in? Thank you for the store manager's kindness, but I think it's better to forget it. I usually don't have much time. Erica shook her head, expressing her refusal. Strictly speaking, her true identity is not visible, so naturally she would not join any group casually and leave such traces. It's okay, guest. Luo Sha also smiled. That's all. This kind of thing is not forced. Whether to add or not, depends entirely on the wishes of the guests. Thank you for your understanding, manager. Erica and Luo Sha wanted to leave after greeting each other, but at this moment, she suddenly thought of another problem. So he stared at Luo Sha again and asked, Shop manager, I don't know if the fruits here have the ability to turn your fist into a red-hot iron rod. Could it be that Erica and Jin Bing fought against each other? Luo Sha immediately made such a guess, otherwise why would Erica ask such a question? He nodded, and he didn't hide anything. Of course there are. The steel fruit in the store can achieve this effect. You just need to make your fist steel and heat it to a high temperature. So, is that so? Erica's eyes flickered, and she faintly realized something. When Gunsu talked to her about Kunlun's new iron fist, he expressed great doubts about it, because from all aspects, it is impossible for Jin to be an iron fist. But perseveringly, the opponent can indeed light up his fist. It was this that blocked Gunsu speechless and made him ignore all unreasonable things. Because only Kunlun's iron fist can light up his own fist. Can now. Erica felt like she had caught the truth. Jin Bin is not some bullshit iron fist, he just ate the steel fruit, that's all. Can't go wrong. Jin Bin and Wesley ate a devil fruit together. That must be it. Erica was faintly excited. In this way, Gunsu can no longer stop himself from killing Jin Bing, right? Then manager, goodbye. After waving to Luo Sha to say goodbye, Erica left the devil fruit shop contentedly. And returned to Hell's Kitchen for the first time, and came to Matt Murdoch's apartment before. Came in front of the stick man. Erica, what did you do? Gunsu was still carefully cleaning the long sword in his hand, as if he was carving a work of art. Guso, you are wrong, you are completely wrong. Erica ignored Stickman at all, and said directly to the other party, Jin is not an iron fist. You can't stop me from killing him. What are you talking about? Erica, I know you are not reconciled. You want to avenge Matt. I believe Matt will be very relieved to know. But you saw it with your own eyes, Jin Bin's fists glowed. If you want to continue discussing this with me, please save your mouth. The stick man said to Erica with a nonchalant expression on his face. The reason why Jin Bing's fists are glowing is because he ate a magical fruit called a devil fruit. He obtained the super ability that can make his fists steel. Erica yelled at Stick, very unconvinced. Gunsu's movement of wiping the long sword froze slightly. Devil fruit. Super ability. Then the old man snorted and laughed out loud. Erica, you should really listen to what you're talking about. Oh, is it so? Erica sneered, and without saying anything nonsense, she directly punched the stick man hard. Although Gunsu is blind, his skills are still very powerful. Definitely, there was also Erica's deliberate factor, which made the stick man hold Erica's hand with a single grab. But this time, suddenly, a thorn protruded from Erica's hand, and it directly hit the stick's neck. Gun, old man, you are dead, Erica said to the old man coldly. Gunsu was stunned, since Erica clearly didn't have any weapons in her hands. He can be sure of that. Although Stick is blind, he can also confirm this, because Stick is the same person as Daredevil. Even other senses are stronger than Daredevil. In the play, Daredevil fell into the siege of the ninja army in order to rescue the old man. Seeing that he could not hold on anymore, it was the old man who temporarily guided Daredevil and adopted a higher level, listening method, only then defeated those ninjas in one fell swoop. When Stick went to Daredevil's house for the first time, he was able to find the other party's refrigerator, with ease, and take out beer from it. Also used a set of fancy operations to bounce the beer bottle caps on several walls and finally into the trash can. This is also a person who can see things even though he is blind. The weapon in your hand, what's going on? Stick, old man asked very strangely, he really didn't understand. But in the next moment, he quickly realized, is this the super ability you are talking about? Super ability like a mutant? That's right, I just ate a devil fruit, so I got the ability to grow thorns and thorns from my body. Erica nodded. Is there such a thing? The stick man began to try to touch the spike in Erica's hand with his hands, but Erica's thought moved, and the spike immediately began to stretch. The old man had no choice but to back away. Boom. Erica then kicked Stick to the ground. Now, do you believe me? Erica snorted coldly. Devil fruit. It's unbelievable. I can't think of such a magical thing in the world. The old man sighed in amazement. If this is the case, then all the doubts about Jin Bing's new iron fist can be explained clearly. Mistake. Unexpectedly, after a long time, it was a misunderstanding from beginning to end. So Erica, this is what you've gotten for a while. Not bad. The stick man, who has always been very harsh towards others, expressed his approval to Erica very rarely. Guso, now you have no reason to stop me from killing Jin Bin, right? Erica ignored Gunsu's compliment, and spoke again in a low voice. No, this doesn't change anything. We still can't kill Jin Bin. Guso still said to Erica indifferently. Erica's voice suddenly rose an octave, and she was furious. Why? He is obviously not an iron fist. But Hand Heihui doesn't know, in the eyes of Hand Heihui, he is an iron fist. But the old man has his own plan. In other words, even if Jin is not a real iron fist, it can still cause misunderstandings. Then the old man pushes the flames from behind, and really stirs up the conflict between Jin Bing and Han Heihui, so that the two can bite the dog, and he will be able to benefit from the old man. Stick, you are always like this. In your eyes, what are we? Does Matt's death mean nothing to you at all? Erica is trying her best. Useless emotion will only be your weakness, Erica, that's how Matt died, and you have to learn from it. But the old man was still cold and ruthless. Dongshang, I taught you, have you forgotten all about it? I'll do what you taught. Erica yelled angrily. Erica, you are not calm enough now, your mind is not clear, before that, you should not interfere in our affairs. The stick man completely ignored Erica's anger, and still said to Erica expressionlessly. Erica, who was still angry at first, couldn't help but feel agitated when she heard what Gunsu said. Gunsu has not been idle these days. After he mistook Jin Bing for Iron Fist, he made some investigations and made some plans on this point. Under the layout of the stick, Erica and his identities have been found out by Jin He, and both of them are hands-on people. Jin Bing seems to be quiet for a while, but Gunsu knows that Jin Bing is actually holding back a big wave in secret. The collision between Jin Bing and Shou Heihui, directed by Gunsu, is coming soon. At this critical moment, Gunsu absolutely does not allow anyone to make trouble for him, even his apprentice Erica. Night. Pier, Vladimir, what are you doing? Next to the rows of containers, Shin angrily questioned a bear-like man standing in front of him. That man is none other than Vladimir, the eldest brother of the two big bear brothers who are currently, 5 points, in Hell's Kitchen. Do you really think that what you do is so secretive that you can hide it from me? Even dare to touch my goods, do you know what existence you provoked? While accusing Vladimir angrily, Shin came to Vladimir aggressively. But at this moment, Shin's voice stopped abruptly because he felt something was wrong. He stretched out his hand and lightly touched Vladimir, who was covered by the darkness in front of him, but the other person's body suddenly shook, and he fell to the ground with a plop. It was only at this time that Shin saw clearly that Vladimir's throat had been cut open, and he was already dead. Oops, it's a trap. Shin was startled, and instantly entered a state of alert, looking around very vigilantly. He couldn't react at this moment, it was all a trap. Someone set it up just for him. Who? Suddenly, Shin glanced out of the corner of his eye and found a figure suddenly appeared on another pile of containers not far away. However, because of the light, Shin couldn't see the specific appearance of the figure, but he felt that the figure seemed to be very unusual. Following Shin's sound, in the darkness behind Shin, one after another ninjas dressed in black also stepped out quickly, making clang 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 sounds, and the dense cold light illuminated the night sky. All ninjas drew their weapons. Kill them, indistinctly. On the top of the container, there seemed to be such a voice coming from the direction of the mysterious man. So the mysterious man started to wave his hands one after another, continuously towards the direction of the letter, as if he was throwing something. Whoosh whoosh, whoosh whoosh, the extremely sharp tearing air sounds began to sound continuously. Everyone only felt that their eyes were blurred, but they saw a rain of arrows shooting towards them overwhelmingly. The ninjas behind Shin also reacted very quickly, and immediately swung the long sword in their hands to resist the bows and arrows that shot over. There was a clanging sound immediately. Many bows and arrows fell to the ground by the ninjas, but many ninjas were shot by the bows and arrows and fell to the ground. It wasn't until this time that Xinfang discovered that what the guy on the container had shot was not a bow and arrow at all, but some metal bars, table knives, forks, and so on. What the hell? Shin couldn't help being surprised. That person turned these daily necessities into sharp weapons for killing just by throwing them with his own hands. What kind of fairy skill is this? However, the surprise in his confidence quickly subsided, and then became calm. Seeing the ninjas falling around him, he stopped talking nonsense and drew out the long sword in his hand with a clang. Its sharp eyes glanced at the figure on the container, and then began to rush there quickly. Chi chi chi, chi chi chi. Shin's move immediately became the core target of the attack of the person on the container, and a large number of items were thrown by the opponent. But Shin brandished a long sword so airtightly that he blocked all the metal objects in a daze. Going upstream like this, Shin approached those containers very smoothly. At this time, Xinfang saw the figure on the container clearly. It was a man who looked very strange and had never seen him before. And beside that man stood another familiar face, Wilson Faith. It's Jinbin. The eyes on Shin's face became more and more serious. It should have been thought earlier, with such a huge body, how many people are there in Hell's Kitchen besides Jinbin? Shin is actually not surprised that Jinbin is going to kill himself. It can be said that he has had too much friction with Jinbin during this period. For a very ambitious hero like Jinbin, it is completely reasonable for the other party to take the initiative to eradicate foreign forces such as himself, and to control Hell's Kitchen alone. Shin also never believed in Jinbin. It's just that Jinbin attacked him so quickly, which really surprised Shin a little bit. They're a little more troublesome than expected. Jinbin glanced at the ninjas who were approaching under the bullseye attack, and whispered to himself. Then he raised his head and gestured in the opposite direction. A group of gunmen suddenly appeared on the containers behind the group of ninjas. Chug chug, chug chug. Those gunmen shot suddenly from behind, mercilessly pulled the trigger on those ninjas, and killed those ninjas by surprise. One ninja after another began to fall over and over again. However, these ninjas are not ordinary people, and their skills are far superior to ordinary special forces, not to mention the gunmen under Jinbin. Although they were caught off guard at the beginning, when they quickly entered the state, they immediately launched a counter-kill against Jinbin's gunmen. However, after all, swords are no match for hot weapons, not to mention Jin's meticulous preparations for this ambush. Every gunman is equipped with a submachine gun. Plus bullseye assists. After a fierce fight, all the ninjas brought by Shin were wiped out. There is only one letter left. Shin was also wounded, shot in the arm by a bullet and in the thigh by a table knife thrown by bullseye. Already out of combat, seeing that the situation was completely under his control, Jinbin came to Shin from the darkness with great determination. Wilson Faith G. Shin stared at Jinbin with both eyes, and let out an angry growl from his mouth. It's not in my nature, and I don't usually do this, but this time, Shin, you really pissed me off. While looking at the letter with a voice full of hatred, Jinbin took off his suit in a leisurely manner. I decided to do it myself and send you on your way. He wanted to kill Shin with his own hands, so that he could have an explanation to Wesley. You can't imagine what kind of existence you have provoked. Facing the mortal situation, Shin didn't panic at all, but looked at Jinbin coldly, and snorted coldly. You don't have to worry about my affairs. Jinbin also had a cold expression on his face. He looked directly at the letter and asked in a low voice, where is that woman? Tell me her whereabouts. Question mark question mark question mark. It can be said that Shin was confused by Jinbin's questioning, and he couldn't understand the situation at all. What woman? Where does this follow? Don't pretend to be confused. That woman named Erica who uses double knives. Jinbin shouted to the letter again. Black empty. Shin couldn't help showing a look of surprise on his face. If Jin didn't just say the name of Erica, the letter would not be able to determine Erica's identity. After all, this name is very common, and I don't know how many people have this name. But if the prefix, uses double swords, is added in front of it, then Erica's identity is basically confirmed. It is Black Sky, the black sky that they will always be looking for. Why did Jinbin ask himself about the whereabouts of Haikong? Could it be, Jinbin also knew that Erica was Haikong? Know that you have been looking for the black sky. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But Shin would never admit this kind of thing anyway. He deliberately pretended to be stupid in front of Jinbin. But who is Kim? This is an underground boss, a proper person. Even though the letter was well disguised, Jinbin still caught the moment of astonishment. Really, that woman was sent by Shin. At this moment, Jin didn't have any doubts anymore. Don't play dumb with me. Do you really think I don't know her identity? Jinbin looked at the letter condescendingly, and let out a cold snort. It seems, Jinbin really seems to know that Erica is Haikong. Shin's heart skipped a beat, and his face became a little ugly. He couldn't understand why Jinbin, the leader of an ordinary underground force, could even find out such things. Fine, I'll find out where she is myself. Jinbin's voice sounded, and he was too lazy to talk nonsense with Zinduo, because Jinbin knew that Shin could not reveal any information to him. So Jinbin stretched out his hand directly, and his fist was steeled and heated in an instant. After a lot of training, Jin Bin is much more proficient in the use of steel fruits than before, and can reach the level of heating his fists as he likes. This is. Shin's attention was immediately attracted by Jin Bing's glowing fist. A look of surprise finally appeared on his always calm face. Iron Fist. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.